It's
Did
real.
you know that you're allowed to do this?
Right.
And she'll
Did
have
you
a
know
whole thing
brass
about-
knuckles are legal in Texas? Absolutely.
Did
She
you
has a
know
huge
that you
following.
can have like a legal duel in Texas?
Yeah, mutual
way.
pugilism is what
Yeah.
it's called.
Mutual
Wow.
what?
Pugilism.
Yeah, you want to get in a fight outside?
You say, hey, let's go outside.
outside.
And if they both agree, you're allowed to fight.
You're allowed to duke it out.
And
The cops will stand there and watch. And then
You're
they
done
walk
duking
away.
it out, yeah.
Yeah, but my question though is like, so you're like mid brawl. What cop is gonna be like, hey, whoa, you good? You argue? You agree? Okay, you're fine. Like, how the fuck do they?
Well, maybe like in UFC where they're like apparent, like you are about
But
to
it's
be
not like the cop
unconscious.
was there to see the
True.
agreement.
Oh,
So
that's
how do
true.
they know?
You can just look. We're good.
Oh, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, we're going fisticuffs. Don't worry about it.
Have you ever done that?
No.
It's on his bucket list now.
Never too
All right,
late.
we're starting. Obviously, we've been talking for 10 minutes.
Right.
When we
So,
go to Texas, can
welcome
we do
back,
that?
everybody. Josh is back from Off the Grid. He's been on the podcast a few times. You guys know who he is. We're going to talk about some new clothes coming out, the launch of the pre-order, relaunch of the pants. I knew I was
It's a
going to say
tongue
that
twister,
wrong.
yeah.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get into it. Thanks for coming back. It's been a long time.
Absolutely. I love coming back here.
I think the last time I saw you, I don't know if it was King of the Hammers. I think that's the only time I really genuinely see you is at King of the Hammers.
Right.
And then every once in a while when you're in town for a hot minute, we get to hang out. So
A real hot minute, yeah.
But we literally have to steal your time.
yeah, we
because of how
literally
busy you are.
we sent Kevin out earlier and he used his Marine skills to steal him and bring him over here. So
Yeah. He did some recon.
yeah. So what's new with Off the Grid? Anything happening? I mean,
Yeah.
I know there's a lot happening, but like, what's a quick little give us the top like 2 things that are happening.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing right now is we just launched our early bird pre-order. So we have a new round of pants coming in. The price is going up. We've held our price for a really long time, actually. We haven't really increased, and I had to resource everything closer to shore is what we were looking for, shorter timelines, and we're actually able to source our fabrics now out of the U.S. So we are using U.S.-grown cotton. We have U.S.-made zippers, and they're being put together in a factory in Nicaragua, which is in a Central American free trade zone. So way shorter timelines, way shorter shipping deadlines. We can refill like our stock a lot faster now too. It's just a better deal overall. And they are more expensive, but we've increased the quality. The fabric's a little heavier. It's more stretchy. We've got some here.
Yeah, you were showing us this earlier. Everybody, so I wear the pants. I mean, all the guys in the shop, we wear the pants every day here at the shop. And this cutwater is really getting me right now. I've only had 4 or 5.
Well, wait. Let's rewind for
I feel-
just a
yeah, I feel
second
like we're going
here.
really
so,
fast
So
right
for the
now.
people who maybe are not quite familiar just yet or haven't watched our previous podcasts with Off the Grid, you guys are super badass, like off-road related apparel company. They have a store here in Escondido, but not for much longer, correct?
Maybe.
Okay, maybe.
It's an online store.
didn't
That's
hear that
really
here.
where you
Yeah,
want to
we'll
go.
cut that part
But
out, maybe.
Yeah.
Online where it's at. I mean,
We're good.
Yeah.
Online's where it's at. Off the Grid, they make clothing for, I forget, what's the slogan? Clothing for, apparel.
Motor-driven adventure.
Motor-driven
Enthusiasts.
adventure.
So we
Motor-driven
came up with that,
adventure.
right? Because there's another company out there, I won't say their name, but they rhyme with Schmatagonia, that believes that there should be no motors in the outdoors at all. Zero.
Yes.
Which I'm like, how do your, granola eating hikers get up there to their mountains they go to? Do they ride their bike there? I don't think so.
They drive something.
Right.
They get pretty close.
And
Amish.
so for us, it's like we're the motor-driven adventure brand. Like we're all about motors. We love V8s. We love race fuel. That's what we like to wear as a
Right.
cologne. It's fantastic. And so we support the motor-driven community. Tread Lightly, Corva, anyone that's saving trails. The Oceano Dunes guys, right? I created the brand because I've worked in action sports for a really long time, surf brands, skate brands, snow brands, and the reality was those guys do a great job pouring into their communities. And I didn't feel there was a clothing brand that was doing that for this community, for off-road. We started 10 years ago. So if you look on a lot of our stuff, it says established in 2012. Well, that's because we got the trademark that dated back to 2012 because I had to buy it off somebody. Fun fact. But the reality is I started the brand in 2013. So this is actually our 10-year anniversary.
Which is Ben Motorsports 10-year anniversary was August 2013. So we're both living the same dream here.
Absolutely. So, I wanted a brand that I could create where we had a pair of pants that you could just throw on. You didn't have to think about it. You could go to the gun range. You can go shoot, and we have pockets for, mags or whatever, tactical stuff, but I use them for my wallet mostly. Like, that's what I keep in that pocket. You go off-roading, you go to work in a shop, right? Black pants for the shop, brown pants for the trail. Is a lot of kind of what we say. But the reality was I just wanted something you could wear every day. You could wear to work. You could wear off-roading. You could wear, if you wanted to go shoot, whatever. Just simple, everyday wearable, tactical, outdoor workwear rolled into one.
I'll admit,
it
I've
truly
worn
is.
them at nice events also. My non-grease stained ones,
we've had
because
people
they have clean lines for all the
I was going to
pockets,
wear them
like-
this weekend for Russo's wedding, but I
was
got
going to
shut down.
I was
got
going to
shut
also, honestly, it's either suit or my Trailblazers.
We've had people wear them to
So-
weddings. We've had engagement photos in our pants, which was awesome. People tag us. I love it.
Yeah.
So, we're a super small brand. I think some people think we're not. It's like there's a few full-time employees. There's 2 full-time employees, and then we have some contractors and some other part-time employees. And so, but I think we do a really good job with the team we have and what the resources we have. But reality is, like, anyone makes a comment, I see it. If you write in on a comment on the pants, I read it,
Right.
and we take all of that. We've taken all that feedback from the beginning, because I don't feel like you should throw the baby out with the bathwater, and we just make things better. We take what we have, we improve on it, we take feedback, and we just move forward and keep trying to make the best product we can. So
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot in between all that too, because you're talking about being a motor-driven company, and if you guys didn't know already from the previous podcast, Off the Grid Surplus was an official sponsor for KOH.
for 4 years.
For 4 years,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a long time.
And like you said, heavily involved with all of the organizations that are working to fight for our trails to stay open, all the legislation stuff, extremely heavily involved with every aspect of all of this.
Yeah, even Corva, they had something happen. The guy that was handling all their printing and warehousing and shipping for them had passed away. And they came to us and they're like, hey, we have the situation. Like, would you guys be willing to take this on for us? And we're like, absolutely. Bring your gear here. We'll store it here. We'll ship it for you. We rebuilt their online store over a weekend so they could get back up and running again. And it's just something we love to do because, again, we're a part of this community. This is who we want to be.
I think that's just your major highlight though. It's in the motto. But you and I have worked heavily in the past. We've known each other, I feel like, honestly, for a really long time.
Yeah.
Remember when I went to Washington for all the Core Vision close quarters combat stuff?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I
still talk to some of those guys. Even the dude from Leupold still hits
Nick.
me up. Or Leopold.
Yeah.
Nick Tyler.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to Nick Tyler.
Yeah.
And all the optics I have on all my firearms.
Yeah.
You're the best.
Being a motor-driven company, I think, it's an understatement to the impact you've made everywhere. I work on attack helicopters for the Marine Corps in my day job. I know you guys know that. Everybody at work wears them, and they want more, which is super rad. We can fit a bunch of wrenches in here and stuff like that. The jackets, the afterburners, they love those. It gets cold in the hangars. But even the hybrids, the in and outs I'm wearing right now,
Oh, yeah.
I wear surfing, I wear hiking. It doesn't matter. You have everything that can be worn everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's all I wear. And wifey's just like, hey, when are you ever going to wear anything else besides a bent shirt and off the grid stuff? I'm like, I'm not, so sorry.
Get used to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's super rad.
Absolutely. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And that's what I love. We're actually working on, with this new factory, too, we're able to do a lot smaller runs. We can stock fabric there and trims. And so guys have been asking us for stuff like a boot cut, right? So it's I can't, typically before I would have to go out and make, 5,000 pairs of a boot cut. And for us, it's just man, that's a huge risk, for an ask. But now with this new factory, they'll go out and we can do a lot smaller runs. We can test stuff.
Right.
So we'll be coming out with a boot cut. We're gonna do a gray man line where there's a lot less labels, right? So we won't have the orange diamond logo on the back. We'll kind of have more of a subdued logo. So that'll be guys that will kind of want to blend in more. We had a lot of actually private security guys that love wearing our stuff. So that's things they've asked for. And then we have our women's pant, that's coming back out, relaunching. That's been crazy. We had that pant for 2 years, right? And we worked with Bailey Cole, super awesome, or Bailey Campbell, and the Campbell family. And we wanted to create a women's pant. And so we worked with her on what she would want on something that she could wear in the shop. She's in there working every day and then wear on the trail. And we came out with the pant and they launched and I mean, honestly, we probably sold 75, 100 pairs in 2 years. And it was like, oh, this is a bummer. Like, we're not making any more women's stuff now. Like, our flannels have done pretty good, but we hired a new marketing team about a year ago now, and they relaunched a lot of our ads, and they relaunched something on Google that had the Campbell pant on there. And all of a sudden, it took off. Like, we were getting crazy orders, like, over and over and over. And I was like, this is nuts. Like, what is happening right now? And we sold out in like 6 weeks. And so all these girls all of a sudden now are like, where the hell are the pants? Like, I've been needing pants. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, this is insane. And so thankfully, you know, with this pre-order, we're relaunching the women's pant again too. And I mean, we made a lot of adjustments that girls had asked for. One, they came in small. So fun fact, if you design clothes, like, never make women's clothes smaller. Right? If you're going to make them bigger. We got a lot of hate mail and angry comments.
Because you made your clothes too small?
Yeah.
Got it.
Jump up a size or two. And
so we adjusted our fit so that it's more true to size. We went from a low rise to more of a mid rise, you know, which is something they'd asked for. We shaped kind of the hip area a little bit more and the waist. So I'm really excited for it because I love making products that people want to wear, right? Like, I still geek out going to a show or something and seeing that guy's wearing this Trailblazers pants. That's really cool. You know, like a 4x4 Fred Williams is like, oh my gosh, he's wearing one of the flannels and similar pants and he's such a cool guy.
Yeah.
You know, like this is why I do my job. Like, I love to see people get something and it works for them, right? Like, girls, you guys have always never had pockets, right? I remember the first time somebody's like, here, carry my this or that, you know, your wife or whatever. And it's just like, why can't you put it in your pockets? And you're like, have you seen my pockets? There isn't pocket there.
I don't have one.
Right.
Pockets.
Yeah.
And so that's what we set out to do was like, we don't just want to make a pair of pants that everyone else does. We want them to be functional. We know the girls in our community, they still need to look good. They still need to be fashionable, but they need to work, you know? So we made the pockets deep enough where the side pocket can fit a cell phone. You could fit wrenches in the other pockets. Your front pockets are full size, so you could even put phones up there or whatever you want.
Unheard of to have a full-size front pocket.
Right.
I'm pretty sure, like, so, you know, you guys have booth at all the expos and off-road shows, stuff like that all around the country.
Yep.
You guys support all that stuff. And I know you can attest for this. I don't know how many shows you guys goes to, but 80% of the people walking around are wearing off-the-grid stuff already.
Well, I don't know about that.
Maybe I just notice it. It's like when you own a vehicle, that's all you see on the road. But all I see is, like, especially the Baja shirts.
Oh, yeah.
Baja shirts are everywhere. Almost everyone's wearing the Trailblazers or the Pros, like, especially when those first came out.
Yeah.
Those were my favorite. Like, everybody.
Well, I think
is
the
wearing
off-road
off-the-grid.
world is very mutual, right? Like, we have the same feeling here. We build a cool Jeep for a customer, and we end up becoming friends with the customer. We go wheeling with the customer, right? Like, we treat every Jeep that we build as one that, like, hey, we're gonna go wheeling with this guy.
Yeah.
Like, so don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
And we
'cause-
don't want them.
I don't
want
wanna be wrenching on this thing
while
we're out there, yeah.
Yeah, so we build these relationships and we go out and we wheel them, and then we get the same satisfaction you're talking about when we see this customer wheel up this hill and we're like, yeah, dude, we helped that guy do that. We built that Jeep for him, right? But what I think happens with us is there becomes this mutual respect, right? Where they want to go tell their friends about us because we like to go hang out with them, and it becomes a friend and a family, right? The off-road community, we almost talk about how tight it is. Well, same thing with your clothing, right? They meet you, they meet your brand, they understand the motor driven, they understand how you help the community, so they automatically are on board with you, and then you're out there in it, doing it with everybody. And so they're like, well, I got to buy a pair of pants because Josh is so fucking cool, right? But then they buy the pants and they wear them and they go, well, goddamn, these are like good fucking pants,
Why
right?
haven't I done this earlier?
Right, and then you're like, well,
For
shit,
real.
I'm gonna get the shorts, and then you get the shirts and the flannels, and next thing you know, everything in your closet's freaking off the grid, and I think it's kind of cool that I feel like that happens a lot. Like, people meet you and think this guy's rad. I'm gonna buy his clothes. I'm gonna do him a favor and buy a pair of pants from him, right? But then they wear them, and then it's just like, I mean, I wear these things like I was saying every day, right? I've been a mechanic my whole life. I've worn Dickies. I've worn Carhartt, you name it. I've worn the work pants, right? And I blow the knees out on them. Blow them out. I'm not trying to get a raise. I mean, I just blow the knees out. I don't know why. They just blow out. And then I got to throw them away and go buy another pair, right?
Yeah.
I wear these pants to work every day. I've never blown a knee out on them, ever. And the only reason I ever have to discard
Just
it.
your actual knee.
Yeah, I blew my
Yeah,
real
as
knee
a-
out. My
he's
real knee
old,
was blown
man.
up. But
Your
the-
knees will blow out before your pants will.
My knee blew out before the
That
pants
should
blew
be
out.
your slogan.
Yeah, that's
Put that
is
on a
real
shirt.
life.
You'll blow your knees out before you blow the pants out.
Yeah, I'm glad you're saying all this though, because I feel like we kind of like brushed over. We jumped the gun a little bit here about the pants themselves are not like other pants. Like we just
Yeah.
started
Yeah.
And I'll
raving
let-
about the pants, but like they're not. We're not just here to hype them up.
Yeah, and
These
I'll let Josh go into why the knees aren't blowing out, but ultimately I end up having to discard the pants because they're so, like, I get grimy here at work really bad, and the pants just get so grimy and oily they become beyond repair with my griminess in them, right? And so my wife makes me get rid of them, and then I crack a new pair out, right?
Sure.
But
Well, talking about all the other
fresh
pairs of pants, like I have people that see me wear nothing but off the grid, and they're like, "Oh, I wear Costco pants. I can buy 5 pairs for the price of 1 off the grid."
yeah,
right?
great. You're gonna blow
Cool.
through them. I tried them.
Good for you. You're not going to be as comfortable. You're going to ruin them,
Knock
and you
it
will
laid.
continue that evolution. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
That's
absolutely.
true.
But-
That's true.
100% true.
Yeah.
also, hold on, I actually
Facts.
forget what I was going to say.
Kevin forgets a lot. It's okay. We'll give him a second, everybody.
Yeah.
Cue music, elevator music.
Oh wait, hold on. One of these buttons does something cool.
What?
No, wait.
I didn't know you could hear it. I've only heard that on the
Fantastic.
post edit.
That's awesome.
No, seriously, like, what the fuck was I going to say?
He doesn't know what he's
They're
doing.
awesome. That's what you're.
That's
Well,
all you were
I'll
saying.
pick up where you left off. I know it might seem, if you're unfamiliar with Off the Grid, a little bit silly that we've been sitting here for 21 minutes now talking about pants, but that's why I wanted to kind of preface this, because though Off the Grid makes a ton of really cool various apparel things and accessories for just anyone who has any interest in off-road. I mean, we're all avid users of all of their products here. It's these pants that they cannot keep on the shelf, and that's why it's kind of like I mean, we could talk about them for 20 minutes if that doesn't attest to the
Yeah,
quality.
the
Seriously.
relaunch. Like, if you haven't pre-ordered, go online right now at Off the Grid and order
Surplus.
offthegridsurplus.com and order your pants, because if you don't get the next batch, you're going to be bummed.
We also have some in our, well, they're not the new pre-ordered version, obviously, but we have some in Bent Motorsports lobby as well. We have one of the flannels, a t-shirt, and a few different pairs and colors of
Just to
the
look at
Trailblazers.
and feel and touch.
Yeah.
They're
but
not
you-
for sale, but their warehouse and store are right down the road in Escondido. And we have had people leave here and go directly
Oh yeah,
to
we
there.
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
They come in and they say, "Hey, we just came from Bent Motorsports, and we need some of those pants."
Yeah, I mean,
absolutely.
It's just real life hype. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I mean-
you're sorry, I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
no,
off,
go
but
for it.
You're in Texas, correct?
Yep.
So why do you? What's up with that? Why are you in
Yeah, what's
Texas
up
and
with
you're
that?
you're
He
located
escaped.
here?
Dude,
Yeah.
Well, no, I
wish.
mean I applaud you for that. I'm jealous.
Well, you're an Escondido boy, right?
Yeah, born
grew
and
up-
raised.
Born and raised.
Okay.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Escondido.
Got
Yeah.
it.
So I was born here, grew up here, went to Escondido High.
Class of 90.
Yeah, 98.
I'm old. Jesus.
Do you don't want to know my answer?
Dang it.
22.
Wait, what?
Class of 22.
No, it's not. Oh, it's bad, but not that bad.
Don't look at me like that.
I'm like, you? No, dude.
I was 04.
Still terrible.
That's like when I
Terrible.
was
I'm
born.
almost 40, dude.
Oh.
So the reality was when COVID hit, I've got 2 kids. Well, they're 16 and 14 now, and the reality was my son went from A and B student to C's and D's and F's in school, and I was just like, this is bullshit. He can't do this remote learning stuff anymore. Like, this doesn't help him. And so we had a lot of friends that had moved to Texas in the last couple of years, and we just were like, let's go. I had a friend, also Matt Howell from Tribe 16, shout out, who lived out there, and he basically explained it to me. He's like, look, man, like, I run a business out of here. I can get anywhere in the United States in 3 hours if I need to. I jump on a plane.
That's a fact.
Anywhere in the U.S., I'll be there in 3 hours.
That's
Yeah.
rad.
And so I was like, all right. And even now, like, when I come out here, a lot of times I'll fly direct on, it's Alaska Airlines, but they have a flight where I leave the airport there at like 6, 7 a.m. I get here at 8, and I'm in the office by 9 o'clock, and I can work for a few weeks or days and fly back.
rad.
So, it's afforded me the ability to give my kids the life I wanted for them to have and get them back in school at the time. And honestly, they've fallen in love with Texas now. There's a whole bunch of other stuff I won't go into.
Hell yeah.
But they love it there. It reminds me a lot of when I was a kid here growing up, right? In the neighborhood I grew up in. I mean, my son would literally come home from school, throw his bag on the ground, and go fish in the ponds in the neighborhood. him and his buddies just cause a ruckus. They had their own little fight club, right?
I love Gunner, dude. Like Gunner is one of the coolest kids, and he's always been
hilarious.
by your side helping you guys out.
Oh, dude, both the kids have been awesome. Grayson, I mean, she worked at the store for a while, just checking people in when COVID was going on. We threw a big party there, and she was checking people in, making sure, hey, only 15 at a time, and being the doorman. And if you know my daughter, she can handle being the doorman because she's
Legit.
yeah, she's a scrappy one, to say the least. But so yeah, we moved out to Texas. We've been there now since the beginning of 21. It's super cool. So one of my favorite places when you guys come out, I'm going to take you there. This place called Mesquite Creek Outfitters. And the first time I went in there, I was like, holy shit, this is what I need to do. It's a clothing store and a bar.
Nice.
Yeah. So clothing store by day, bar at night. They have great beer, cool atmosphere, all sorts of dead animals on the walls. It's fantastic.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have a bar,
I'll say
Hannah,
we're in
We
that
kind of have
direction.
that vibe.
but why don't we
have dead
turn it
tarts.
into a real bar at night? Like this is just for us to get drunk during the day. I mean, after hours.
yeah.
I would never drink while I was working on your Jeep, ever.
We're in Mexico right now, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we
Not
are.
in California.
Yeah. Don't mind.
That was really loud.
Sorry.
So yeah, it's been great. I like coming out here as much as I possibly can. Still having the team out here. Lola holds it down at the store. Lola's
Yeah, she do.
stone cold soldier. She's
Yeah.
the best person I've ever met in my life. She's so amazing. Her husband Nick, awesome dude. Most of you don't know, but Nick is the model in most of the photo shoots
Really?
because she
Yeah.
shoots at their house. It's either Nick, my brother-in-law Jordan, me, and Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin's in a few of
Actually
them.
has been a model a few times for us. So, yeah,
Anything
when-
that doesn't show his face.
yeah, we can't afford models, so we do what we can.
Nobody can.
We give product out. So,
One day, hopefully,
that's
they'll
rad.
need a portly model, then I can do it.
yeah, absolutely. Plus size.
Plus size.
It's all the rage right now.
Big and tall.
Yeah. But
What kind of more end goals do you have? Where do you see this going, or what do you want out of it?
right. Here the crazy thing is working for all these other big businesses. Working for the Quicksilvers, the DC shoes.
So you did. I didn't know that. You
Yeah.
used to do that.
Yeah, so I worked
Okay.
for Quicksilver I worked for Rip Curl for 4 years, then Quicksilver for 4 years, and then
What
I
do you
worked
do for them?
I was Rip Curl. I was in marketing, so
Okay.
that's where I started. At 19 years old, I was everybody's little brother. They used to beat the shit out of me and get me drunk. It's super fun. The surf industry it's a dumpster fire of fun. So it was great times. Growing up,
Dumpster fire. Please put that on a shirt. A dumpster fire of fun.
Yeah. And so, I was one of the youngest there. There was a guy there, this guy, Sergio. This is my favorite story. I got the job there, worked there for 6 months. This dude did not say a word to me. And then finally, something happened, and he literally spun around in his chair and started talking to me. And I looked at him, and I was like, what is going on right now? And I was like, hey, what's up? And I was like, you haven't talked to me for 6
you about
months.
to kill
And he
me?
was like, yeah, I waited till you actually did something good before I, because I figured you'd get fired by now. So now it looks like you're not going to get fired. So, I'm Sergio. What's going on?
Oh
How's
my
it going?
God,
That's
great.
rad though.
Oh, and he took me out that night, and we went to Golden Tea and the sushi bar right down there in Carlsbad. And we go eat sushi at the sushi bar, and then we go to Golden Tea, and it's like I walk up, and I don't get to order. He's like, tall Asahi and a shot of Jim Beam. And just hands it to me. And I was like, well, looks like we're doing this. And as soon as that was done, another one showed up, and that's how that night went for a while. I mean, there was a lot of fun times with that crew, but he threw me off a balcony in Vegas into a fountain one time. I got thrown into a lot of bushes. But yeah, it was great. We surf before work, we surf
Oh,
at
wow.
lunch, we surf after work.
Okay.
Mick Fanning and the crew would come into town, and we'd just take
I'm
off and go
sweating
to Panos.
right now. I wish I was a part of that.
It was a blast. And then I worked at Quicksilver. I mean, we had our own private skate park. Christian Hosoi came and
Yeah.
built a bowl in the back of our office, and we would skate every day. I got in trouble a few times for leaving my desk and going to skate in the afternoons.
Well, I mean, that seems like a given. You throw the carrot out, you're gonna take it.
Yeah,
Right.
You're
Yeah.
gonna go skate.
That's kind of stupid.
Absolutely. Got to skate or die. One of
would
my
die- I
favorite
would die.
stories, Quicksilver, right? So working at Quicksilver, we went for a surf lunch. of course. The waves were freaking really good. We get breakfast burritos and beers, and we're walking back to the office, surfboards in hand, wetsuits draped over the top, beer, burrito, walking back into the back door. CEO of the company, Bob McKnight, is walking out towards the back warehouse with Pete Carroll. He was the coach of USC at the time, and 3 USC football players. And they see us all walking back in, and Pete Carroll laughs, and he's like, "Look at these fucking assholes. They got the life, huh?" And Bob's like, "Hey, man, there's perks to working here." So, and we just...
so he didn't care.
I didn't give a shit. No.
Wow.
He would have done the same
That
thing.
lifestyle,
Yeah,
man.
That's rad.
yeah. There's a lot of stories that I can't tell on here. That it was a cool place. I mean, that Quicksilver was known as a party place. We would have a Halloween party with like many kegs. We like towards the end of me working there, we actually got an HR girl that came from like a bigger corporate company, and like
You're all fired.
she like would literally have to like earmuffs at some of our sales meetings and stuff because he'd be talking about smoking weed or whatever. And I mean, the industry
great.
was before it was legal in California, obviously
Yeah.
too. But you know, it was a fun way to grow up. Not great when you're young and you just get married and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
it just was my ex-wife. There was definitely a lot of long nights of just work and events, and she just was like, "What are you doing? You're hanging out with all these people." And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like,
Promise, I'm working tonight.
"Yeah." I was like,
Genuinely.
come hang out.
I'd say it all worked out pretty good for you.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, I mean, DC Shoes was a blast, right? I worked with Rob Dyrdek, Ken Block, like Travis Strana, who's my favorite person in the world. Travis is an amazing person. He was such a cool guy. He was like, "Look, you're the designer. I just ride dirt bikes. Like, make cool stuff and I'll wear it." And I would show stuff to him. He loved flannels, so like I would make these flannel designs for him, and he'd just be super stoked. So I made one that replicated his Subaru at the time. It was a blast. So I mean, that's kind of how I cut my teeth. Was I started out in marketing at Rip Curl, did that for 4 years, and during that time I started doing a lot of T-shirt designs for other companies that I you just meet. It's such a small community.
Yeah.
You meet people at other brands. You start, "Hey, can I design some shirts for you?" Do some freelance, and then Quicksilver's like, "Hey, we want to hire you to do T-shirts for us." Got the job at Quicksilver. Saw that I was we were in the pit, is where they put all our graphic designers, and there was 6 of us, and then a director, a VP. So there's a lot of us, and I realized like if I want to move up here, like I mean there's a lot of people I'm going to have to move up through if I want to. And so I looked over on the other side in the cut and sew department, and there's like a lot more people. They traveled a lot more for work. Like they got to go on the research trips a lot more than we did. We were kind of the, what are those?
The starving artist.
Yeah, mushrooms, right? You
Yeah.
feed them shit and keep them in the dark.
Yeah.
Just work on art all day.
I love Josh.
Yeah, and so I moved over. I had a buddy of mine, this guy Ronnie, who kind of became my mentor. And so when I moved over there, I was an assistant designer. I worked for all the designers. I would do all their shit work, like anything they didn't want to do. But that taught me tech packs, right? Like how to really detail out, how to call out all your stitching, all your buttons, all your seams, everything. And then I learned fabrics because the VP made me organize the fabric closet, where it's like, I want you to take everything out. And there was like huge cabinets full of fabric that we had of a library. Reorganize everything, categorize it how you think it should go, and then take notes and come back and like give me a report on what you learned from this exercise. So like I learned about weaves, I learned about fabrications, right? The difference between cotton and polyesters and lycras and nylons and all this stuff. And like what gets used for what? Like what gets used on a board short? What gets used on pants, shirts, sweatshirts, the difference between knits and wovens. And so it was really like a trial by fire and education on how to design apparel.
Yeah.
And so I was super grateful. And what really helped was I got to a point where I asked my boss, where I said, "Hey, if I get all my work done in the day, all this grunt work you guys have me doing, can I just design product that I think the brand needs, that I would wear?" And he was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And so I would get all my work done, and then I just started designing stuff that I thought the brand, would be cool for Quicksilver. And the one that kind of resonated, that kind of really was a big hit, was we really did well with floral board shorts, right? Flowers, but it was, I think a lot of the designers were bored with it. And so they were just like, "Cool, here's another floral board short. We're going to sell shit tons of them. They're really boring. Nobody really cares, but we have to have them." And so I designed this kind of Andy Warhol themed floral board short where it was like super bright colors, halftone dots, and big bold kind of chunks of hibiscus flowers. And we presented them, and it became a huge all-store buy with PacSun,
Wow.
Zoomies, all these big retailers that we had, and that was like unheard of. They like if PacSun bought something, Zoomies wouldn't buy it because they're like, nah, like they've got it. We're both in the mall, right? It was a whole thing. And so when that happened, it was like, that was when my boss was like, all right, like, we're not going to fire you. Like, you can stick around. And I'm like, dude, I just made you a couple $1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
that's great.
Thanks.
I
Yeah.
love that story. I feel like that's like such a good like testament for anybody who like, no matter what you're dealing with or what you're going through, it's so crazy sometimes how like the trial and tribulation in your younger years of life, you have no clue is actually setting you up for the bigger, better version of yourself down the road. Like at that point in time,
Yeah.
you're like, yeah, whatever, I'm just doing this because I think it's cool. But you stuck with it and you're passionate about it, and that's why you're here now. And you got like the ultimate crash course on how to run an apparel business and be successful, right? And you didn't even know.
100%.
You got
Absolutely.
thrown off a balcony and into multiple bushes for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
Builds
Yeah.
character.
Worth it.
It
Do you
absolutely
have-
does.
Do you have any of those old designs, like
I
in
still
your
have
closet,
a whole,
like,
yep.
plaqued
I
or
have
whatever?
a whole portfolio of stuff I've done over the last 20 years of like,
You're gonna have to
I
show
have
us
those
sometime, man.
I have those board shorts. I have a jacket I did for Rob Dyrdek one time that he actually got super mad and he cut me out of his TV show because I had one of the samples. So we did this like really expensive leather jacket for him. And he's a different guy now. I think there was a lot going on in his life at the time. And I got one of the leather jackets, and he was filming a show where he was doing a fashion shoot, and it was a lot of this stuff that I had been working on with him. And we shoot the whole show, and like it was really good. And his like handler that worked at DC at the time came up to me and was like, "Hey, did you sign a waiver?" And I was like, "No, like what? Do I need to?" She's like, "Yeah, you were like in the show a lot." And I was like stoked. I was like, "Oh, that's so rad!" But I'd been wearing this jacket, because that was like one of the pieces I had that I really liked. And turns out he was super pissed because I guess he had asked for all those samples because we weren't going to produce them. They never got made. And he wanted to give them out to his friends and family. And I had one still. And so he told the producers to cut me out of the show. So like I went to watch the show. I was all stoked, like got my family together, like let's watch, like this is gonna be super
You're all
cool.
fuzzed out.
I was in the show like a bunch. No, he just literally cut me out. Like a bunch of the
Wow.
scenes I was in,
Wow.
like just got cut. So anyway, I was in there a couple times. It was cool, but it was funny.
Well, I've heard he's a pretty savage businessman. So, I mean, I'm sure he's savage in a lot of things in his life.
Yeah, he was. I mean, it was a lot different back then. Like he wasn't together with anyone at the time. He wasn't married. He was just skyrocketing.
Yeah, moving fast.
And he was an interesting dude. He's a great guy, good businessman. Ken was an amazing marketer. Like I learned so much just from even working in that guy's atmosphere, just of marketing and how he can create something out of hooligans, right? Like
Right.
how he could create something that I knew it. Like I remember watching the first Gymkhana video, and this was, I think Barracks had come out at the time, which was really cool. They bought their own private skate park, and they were filming episodes, and it just became this cool thing on the internet where you had to watch these episodes, and it kind of transformed the way marketing worked and like branding. And then Ken came out with the Gymkhana video, and I was like, holy shit, like this is going to be huge. And everyone's like, why? And I was like, well, to skateboard or to surf or that, there's a huge barrier for entry, on those types of things, right? You got to buy a skateboard, you got to buy a surfboard. If you're snowboarding, you got to go to a hill, you got to, do all these things. But every freaking asshole that has a car wants to go do burnouts, wants to freaking get sideways, wants to go fast, right? And so he was able to impact this huge community of people across the country with those Gymkhana videos. And I think a lot of people, especially on the coast, take a lot of that for granted. They think people have access to a lot of these things. And now living in Texas for a while, like you see, like those kids are farm boys and they play football because you don't have another option. but they all have trucks, and damn it if they don't like to go out in the field and freaking do some burnouts and some brodies and have a little fun, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I talked to a lot of brands that I had even worked with about off-roading, about overlanding, especially a lot of I worked for Prana, which is an outdoor brand, just like, this is a thing, and like, this is a big deal. And because it speaks to so many people, right? Instead of action sports. Action sports is actually a very narrow community. And so I feel like the off-road space is actually a great community across this country to really connect people more than action sports, more than a lot of these things. And I think Ken really hit on that with the Gymkhana videos, with just that car culture. He really, the guy's just a genius. But yeah, it was really cool to see. I'm glad I had, got to work with him for a period of time, and Travis, and I got to do some really cool stuff. So I was stoked to be able to start my own brand and really try and do something for a community that I loved, that I wanted to be a part of. And that's what I spent the first 4 years doing, literally, was just social media, going to events, meeting people, talking to people, creating. I hated a lot of the t-shirts, right? The Jeep community back then was like stick figure weird stuff with like the 7 slots. It was bad. Like,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and so, to see, there's so many cool brands now, like Loose and Lost, it's super rad guy, Shreddy Life. Like, I remember talking to Blake way back in the day because he was stoked on some of the hats we had done. And so it's super cool to see, like, the community, I feel like, is expanding, it's growing, it's progressing, and it's really cool. So
Yeah.
I'm just stoked to be a part of it. Like, it's a lot of fun.
No, we're all stoked you're a part of it. I like just sitting here hearing all these old stories. I don't know if there's any more balconies. So let just touch back on moving to Texas. So do you tell anybody you're from California?
No,
or,
hell no.
yeah. Did you immediately get your driver's license changed?
Oh,
And-
the license plate.
yeah. You
So
can't
that was
show
the
up with
big
that
thing.
license plate, man.
So that
You get
Bronco, I
shot
got
at.
the Bronco, right? And I had to, at the time when I pre-ordered it, I was in California. And so it had to get delivered. This is a great story too. So ordered the Bronco. It had to get delivered to this dealership in California, but I was in Texas. Well, at the time, I got mine pretty early. Like, I signed up day one when they're like, do you want to wait 6 months to get the hardtop? I was like, hell no, I just want the car. And so I got mine September of 21.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Early
and
on.
so early. And so I called some people like Brian at Goose Gear and some other friends. And I was like, hey, do you have one of these? Do you need one of these to be able to mock stuff up, to be able to put stuff in? And he's like, no, we have nothing. And I was like, cool.
Sick.
I was like, I got one getting delivered to Carlsbad. If you want to use it and build it out, like, have at it.
Yeah.
And he was like, awesome. So he literally, Brian at Goose Gear, picked it up from the dealership. I had never seen it, drove it to Orange County, built out the back end of it. They put the table in, they put a fridge and a stove on a slider in there and a back plate, and got it all mocked up. Drove it to Overland Expo West, and then I flew in to Arizona. We had another event I had to go to, and then we got to Expo West, and that's where I saw it for the first time.
I texted him. I'm sure you remember this, that I sat in his Bronco before he
yeah.
did.
Before he
He took a
did.
photo. Yeah, he took a photo of
I was
himself
like, hey,
in my
I really
Bronco.
like your Bronco.
No, shocker.
Come to find out, Barry Bonds had sat in my Bronco also
Nice.
at Expo because, again, there was only, I think there was 3. There was Magnaflow and Camberg had one, and AARB had one, and
Yeah.
then mine and Goose Gear's booth. And I was like, that's pretty rad.
That's pretty rad.
Yeah, and then a bunch of shit went down. I wasn't able to do anything with it since then,
yeah.
but it's all good.
But
so
whatever, you still got it, right?
yeah, I still got it.
So
It's got
you
a
don't
huge
use
crack in the
it
windshield.
Much. You don't use
Well, I
it.
live in Texas, so off-roading in Texas is interesting.
Well, that's kind of where I was going with that. So
Yeah,
do you,
it's all private
do you
land.
have many thoughts on the off-road capability of the new Bronco?
I do. Well, I was able. So that year, I literally drove it home from Expo West. Well, the first thing I did was I left Expo West and I went to Cinders Off-Road Park in Arizona.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm gonna wheel the shit out of this
Yep.
thing before I have to drive home. So freaking solo, just wheeled it through Cinders, like had a blast. Like, this is awesome. Took some photos. And then jammed home to Texas, and then I think it was a month or 2 later was Expo East. So I loaded up my wife at the time, and we drove out to Virginia and had it at Expo East, which was super cool. It was fun. They were doing the Bronco like test drives, so a lot of people were coming by and checking it out. So hopefully it helped Goose Gear out a ton. Like, I love those guys; they're awesome. So and then brought it back, and literally it's like There's a couple good spots by me. There's a place called Hidden Falls, which is just down the road. There's Marble Falls. I forget the Wolf Caves. There's another one, but Wolf Caves is kind of gnarly. So, and then there's Katimsi Rocks, which is private.
What part of Texas are you in? Sorry.
Sorry. So I'm in north of Austin, 40 minutes.
Okay.
A place called Georgetown.
Got it.
So it's a great spot. But I would have to go to, one of those parks or Hot Springs in Arkansas or Oklahoma to really, there's not a lot of camping unless you want to camp at a campsite. There's some dispersed stuff that's pretty fun. Actually, Chris from Onyx Off-Road is from Texas as well. He has a really cool spot down by Houston that's like on the water that I want to go hit. And I've kind of been in a spot where life has not allowed me to go do a lot of these things. And so now that transition is finalized, I can go have a lot more fun and work on the Bronco.
We've thought about expanding and doing Broncos as well, but all we would do is just solid axle swap them. And then,
Ouch.
yeah.
Yeah, why don't you just put, portals on them and, a new front bulkhead and, dump 60 grand into one.
There was one at SEMA 2 years ago, was it? That they solid axle swapped Bronco.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was so bummed because I was like, I wanted to do that. I had a guy who was thinking about it, and
Didn't they put 42s on it or something like that?
yeah,
too?
there was some huge
Which they probably
tires.
just rolled off a trailer and it's SEMA.
Yeah.
But
That should be our contingency. We'll work on your Bronco, but we're either going to straight axle swap it to do it, or if it's already straight axle swap, then we'll work on it.
then we'll work on it.
Yeah.
it's
Now,
great to drive, though.
Yeah, that's the thing. I got a couple of customers who have Broncos, and they love them. I mean, they're great vehicles. They've got a lot of cool features too for off-roading.
Oh, yeah.
They got that line lock drag where you can drag.
Oh, yeah, the trail turn
The
assist.
trail turn assist.
You can tear huge
does it-
holes in
does it-
trails.
Do they have the? Do they have the same thing that Toyota has, where it will get you unstuck from sand and shit?
Like the multi.
Oh, that weird,
stuff.
shaky thing
Yeah.
that it does?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't
Doesn't
have
like
that.
the
It-
new
I thought it did.
Mercedes do that or something?
It does have front and
That's
rear
different.
lockers, though, so that
It
tends
does
to
have
get you
front and rear
unstuck, better than
That's true.
vibrating
Yeah, because the Toyota
vehicles.
doesn't come with front and rear lockers.
The multi-terrain select in the Toyotas, like I had in my third gen Tacoma, you have different, mud, rocks, whatever, sand.
Yeah.
Where I think I was in Baja, I purposely dug myself in, and if you open the door, it disengages the system completely. So I rolled my window down and I just let it 1 mile per hour. You can set 1 to 5 miles per hour in the sand setting, right? And it just and I was like, oh, this is rad. I was to the frame rail. I got out of my window.
It's a thing only you would do. Intentionally get yourself stuck in Mexico.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
we've
that
never
or the Dead Man Off-Road guys.
We-
I've
Yeah,
been
yeah,
with those
yeah.
guys
It's
many
true.
times where they literally just, let's get stuck.
You'll see. I've been wheeling for a really long time.
Love you guys.
And I like to test my capabilities from the driving and recovery standpoint. Right?
I'm just giving you shit.
I know. If you're not giving me shit, there's something wrong. So
Yeah, true that.
I really wanted to see how it worked because that was one of their major advertisements to the system. It's not a new system because it was in the older Land Cruisers, I think, and stuff like that, but it's new to the Tacoma. And I jumped out of the window, and my truck, after a few minutes, of course, literally digs itself out. And it was still crawling, and I was like, I'm going to get back in my truck now, I guess. So I just jump on my slider and get back in. I was like, it works. Thanks.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'm glad I'm not stuck in Baja,
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's some cool technology on the vehicles out there. I know Jeep has some cool technology. It's weird though, because I'll get in, I have an 06 LJ, and
Fantastic.
I love it. I mean, I hate it. I love it. Me and my Jeep have a love-hate relationship.
That's every Jeep owner, I feel like, has that same story.
but it's fairly analog.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you got to drive the thing, right? And it's not going to do anything for you. And then I get in my buddy's Jeep, and it's a brand new Jeep, and you're on a hill or doing something weird, and I'm 2 foot braking it on my Jeep, and I get in his, and you can literally lift your foot off the brake, and it's going to go, don't worry, Dave, I'll hold you here until you're ready to hit the gas.
Yeah.
That
Then
takes
you
the
hit the
fun out of
gas,
it.
and then it goes up, and my Jeep will start sliding or slipping, and his just goes and goes right up, and I'm like, I like it. I like technology. I'm a mechanic. I like it.
Right.
I like it, right? Part of me likes it. This is rad. This is cool, right? But then another part of me is like,
It doesn't teach you anything.
No. It's
easy
man,
mode.
anybody
It's
can fucking do
it's
this.
unsafe.
You're supposed to like it, I think, but I hate it. I hate feeling like almost out of control. Like I have no desire to drive a brand new vehicle in any capacity because of that.
She doesn't.
Like if I had a light on my dash saying this feature has been disabled for any reason, fuck you. No, I want to use it. Like I'll decide
I
when
will
my
tell you when
transmission is
it's
too hot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like no, I just.
Well, it's like the JKs, right? Or even the new JLs. If you, a lot of times on the JKs, you're off road, and at the end of the day, off roading, your steering wheel's off. Well, you get on the freeway to drive home from Big Bear or whatever, and your steering wheel's at like 10 degrees, and you're trying to do 70 on the freeway, and the Jeep goes, "Whoa, dude, you can't turn 10 degrees and go 70 miles an hour. You will roll." So the car goes into limp mode. So then you're on the freeway and you're and it won't drive, and you're like, "What the fuck's going on?" And you got to get out, and if you don't know how to straighten your steering wheel out, then you're screwed. You're driving home at 30 miles an hour, right? And so some of it is kind of dumb.
Yeah.
You know, like I get it. It's a safety feature, but
Has anybody ever had a story like, "Oh, thank God my car automatically did this, or else I wouldn't"? No one. Every single
She didn't
story.
even finish her own sentence.
No, every,
no one.
Absolutely not.
every story that someone has about like the stupid
that's
Chevy
funny.
thing with like the security system or that, or
Yeah.
no offense, but even the new Broncos where it's like, "Oh, sorry, your alternator got slightly damp, so we don't drive no more." It's all like bullshit. Like no one's ever like, "Wow, this really saved the integrity of my brand new car." Nobody.
So
Sorry,
I will
got really
say
fired
No,
up.
that's it is a
the
fact.
reason why. So when I first got the Bronco, or I even put the deposit down, right? And I was actually able to go out. I'm not going to disclose where I was or what happened, but
Mexico.
Mexico. Yeah, 100%. It was
Mexico. We
Mexico.
were in Mexico.
But somebody had a pre-release Bronco, and they were driving around. They were doing a bunch of stuff with it, and it went into limp mode. They couldn't get it out of limp mode. They were having engine issues. There was a lot of stuff going on. And at that point, I was like, screw this.
What did I do?
I am not pulling the trigger on this Bronco. Well, fast forward, Hammers happens. They had all the Broncos out there. They were doing ride-alongs. And, you know, we have a few friends. There's guys like, you know, that have been doing the testing for the Broncos, right? And so I started picking their brains. Like, hey, man, I've got one of these on order, but, like, to be honest, they seem like kind of a shit show.
Yeah.
And they're like, look, man, this is super early. The stuff you looked at, we're working the bugs out. And one of the guys was Terry Madden. He was literally like, they dropped off a trailer full of Broncos out here. And they would literally, he told me how they were beating the shit out of them. He's like, I would literally take it up a trail, and they'd be like, I want you to go over this rock and then drop it on the frame rail as hard as possible.
you don't want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, he's like, what? And they literally had him torture test the shit out of those Broncos in Johnson Valley. He was like, you should buy one. He's like, they're really good. They're really capable.
That's so cool.
And I was like, okay.
Well,
Like,
I mean, to give the Broncos credit in the 4600 class, or what, I know Broncos are a big sponsor of King of the Hammers, which just shows that they're willing to go out and wreck their shit and learn from it and make it better, right? Like, I had a 1969 Bronco, right, back in '92.
I bet
That
you
is
wish you
so
kept that thing.
much different. That is a different tale.
I don't care,
Let him
but
finish the
I had a
story.
Bronco. I know I own a Jeep shop, everybody. I own a Jeep shop, but I'm a car guy.
Hey,
I have had so many cars throughout my life. I currently have how many pink slips?
22 last time we.
So,
He also has a car that he used
Fantastic.
to race that literally from his nipples up stick. From
I
the
have
top
to
of the
look.
windshield.
Cole and I took it to Rancho Santa Fe Cars and Coffee this last Saturday, and I had to look. I look over the windshield to drive it.
the windscreen.
Yeah, the windscreen. Sorry, it's a British car.
Did
the
you put it in the
windscreen.
bonnet?
Yeah. The bonnet was the bonnet had stuff in it.
Yeah, in the boot and the
boot
bonnet?
and the bonnet. The bonnet has the engine. The boot had my jacket.
That car's badass though.
But that's a car, right? So my kids have to drive this car, right? Like I
Right.
teach my kids how to drive. They both drive stick shifts. One's 18, one's 14.
Right, the
They've-
millennial theft device.
Yeah, they've both been driving stick shifts since they were 10,
Yeah.
right? Like they know what's going on, and they love driving these cars that you have to drive them, right? It may not go in gear every time. You know, you
Right.
might have to double clutch it. You might have to just fucking man it in, right? Like you're going in the gear, right?
Yeah.
And but I like that Ford is going out to King of the Hammers, and they're putting it all out there. And I know this is going to be the first year that we're actually racing our own car in 4600. We've been supporting teams that race in 4600 for the last few years, and there is some bitter, Well, fucking Broncos shows up. They're going to get 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2 or
Right.
however many cars
These
they enter.
$250,000 Broncos.
Yeah,
in
they're
the stock class.
factory Broncos, right? With factory portals, whatever.
Yeah.
I get it, right? Whatever. We're not gonna beat those guys. But the fact that they're out there at least torture testing their shit. I do think that they may have jumped the gun a little when they came out with their advertising campaign saying that they were going to take the market share from Jeep. Like, we're going to
That's
show
aggressive.
Jeep what's up, right? That was a little aggressive.
Yeah.
And I know they took some Broncos to Rubicon and had to have helicopters take them out of there because they couldn't make it. And it was probably because they were early models. Some glitchy thing happened. I know they were having some computer issues early on. I don't know. I'm on the fence, right? Like, I'm for sure not a Toyota guy.
Why you gotta look at me when you say that?
You're
I'm
the
glad
one
they
who
look
owns all
at you
the
now
Toyotas.
because I still love Toyotas.
Whatever, dude.
And I don't know why I'm not a Toyota guy, but I could very easily, I think, be a Bronco guy. Like, it wouldn't take much for
What
me to
the
be a Bronco guy.
But do you remember the Bronco R we had to recover at Rigfest in JV that went into complete lit mode?
Yeah, that thing, we were going up, I had just,
Oh yeah. Okay.
I can't talk shit, dude. I just broke my fucking Jeep right at the bottom of that hill and
you
had to
didn't
drive
even
it back
go
to
on
camp.
the hill yet.
So the Bronco made it farther than me.
And then Jake exploded his finger.
And then Jake exploded his finger trying to fix my Jeep. But yes, that Bronco did hit the first rock, came down and hit the bumper, and the car went into limp mode.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, and I mean, I know they have issues with that thing that snaps every time in the steering. God, I'm spacing right now. I should know this because I own one of the stupid things, and I'm about to buy
Are they breaking
spares
tie
for 'em.
rods? Or
tie rods,
they're
yeah.
breaking tie rods.
So everyone I know has spare tie rods in their Broncos because they
Well,
know.
so do Toyota
I
guys.
would
Toyota
say
guys have to run
anything
spare
IFS, you
anything
have spare
IFS.
tire
Right.
rods.
So that's an IFS issue. That's not necessarily a Bronco
True.
issue. And in Bronco's defense for this guy who went into limp mode, why? Like, his Jeep was heavily modified. Like, what the fuck did he do?
yes.
Like, I
And it
can't
was
blame that
all
on
new
Ford.
shit too.
True.
Right? It could have been him letting some shitty shop do something and they fucked up a wheel sensor or
So
something.
he was, and again, not talking shit. He was an ambassador that had one of the most built Bronco R's I've ever personally seen in real life, with all new products and not just the fiberglass and stuff like that, mechanical items, right, to make the vehicle more capable. But just like with the Ford factory Broncos and EMC, just because you have the money and just because you have the best built new stuff does not mean you know how to drive. And I will say it was driver error, but the fact that the vehicle reacted to that and going into limp mode, it's a 2 + 2 = 4 type of situation. So it was a shitty situation.
Well,
and then
to
we
Broncos'
recovered them
credit,
and
too.
turned around. But
They did get some of the most badass drivers
Oh, for sure.
out there.
They for
for
sure
sure.
did.
to race us in.
They for
like
sure
they
did.
didn't come
Yeah.
in. I mean, they took it like they took Le Mans, right? When they came out with the GT40. Like
Yeah.
they're like, look, we sponsored this race, we built this Jeep or this Bronco.
Yeah.
And we're gonna come out to kick your ass.
Yeah.
And they fulfilled on that promise. Like,
Yeah, because what was the year? Remember the year the Gladiator? They Jeep
oh
put the
my
Gladiator
God.
in there.
And that thing had
What'd
so
they
many
put-
dents in the bumper.
They put
and the-
Robbie Gordon in it,
Yeah,
and he just fucking
and Eric Miller.
annihilated it.
Right.
And that thing, and hey, we're going right back to the thing, right, of modern technology. That thing didn't make it through the race either.
Yeah, it did. It finished, but they nerfed it up every rock trail. There were so many
Yeah.
dents and holes in the tailgate
Yes.
of that truck because they were nerfing it up trails to get it to finish.
Yeah, they were pushing it to the
But
finish
again,
line.
that's not a hammer's rig. Like
No.
you're not going out there with that wheelbase with that kind of a truck.
So
I mean, it finished the race, but
but it. I mean, and
there's
the
a couple guys that have
It
built.
didn't finish the race. Why it was being nerfed was because I believe, and I may somebody out there knows the truth, but the story I was fed was that the wheel speed sensors cables got ripped because they were too short or something happened and they ripped. So then the vehicle didn't have any traction control anymore. It like didn't want to go into 4-wheel drive. Like it's going, hey, I can't read the wheel speed.
Right.
I'm not going to let you do anything, right? So limp mode, right? And so they're like, fuck it. And they just rammed that thing all the way to the finish line.
Yeah.
Which cool, I dig it.
Here's
But-
my thing. Jeep, gauntlet's been laid. Like, make this shit happen. Go build something.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I love about Hammers is every year you got to ask yourself, looking at the trail map, when it comes out, you're like, okay, is this a solid axle race or is this an IFS race, right?
Yeah.
What are the rock trails they're running? Are they going up or down? And that's going to tell you, like, is an Eric Miller, is a Randy Slauson gonna put it in to get these guys in the rock trails, because all these IFS cars are like, love Cameron Steele. I love that rig is beautiful, but it's never finished a damn race. The full IFS cars have never,
what's the other one?
finished a race.
Genrite boys, right?
Yeah.
They all run out full IFS.
Lamborghini, what is it called?
Yeah, but by the time they release the course, you don't have time to switch your platform.
No.
It's not like, oh, okay, I'm going to build a solid.
No, but you got to
Well,
change
you
your
better
race
stick
plan.
to that. Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
I
Absolutely.
mean, I've heard those guys talk about switching to 42s after the desert race when they're going the rocks, right? So they have,
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's what I love also about Hammers is when you get behind the scenes and you hear the strategy that's going on, like even the fuel, I was in Tom Ways' race car, and he has a fuel cell in the front and in the rear. And so when he goes in the rocks, they drain the rear fuel cell first so that when he's in the rocks, they still have the weight over the front tires, right? It's freaking so awesome that, these guys are putting so much, there's so much that nobody knows about, really, as a casual fan. But once you dig in, it's so much strategy. It's so much on race day. Like his wheelbase is so much narrower. Like we were with Jason Shearer, and Jason has a much wider wheelbase. So Tom was like, dude, I can squeeze in a lot of these spots, and you're just monster trucking over all this shit.
like the Sammy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it reminds me back. I mean, I raced back in the day, circle track. We did, some road race. We did parking lot racing, and the circle track was probably the most strategy driven, pushing rule books and really trying to come up with creative and clever ways to get through a race. And being this year, that's our first year putting our own car in Hammers, I'm really enjoying going out to the shop and geeking out on my car, because it's like I get to do what I used to do back in the day. That's why, I mean, Hannah's going to drive the car, Hunt's going to co-drive the car. And I've had people ask me, so are you excited to drive in Hammers? I'm like, oh, I'm not driving. They're like, why not? I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that. I want to build it. Like, I'm a builder, right? I want to build it. I want to strategize. I want to make the race strategy.
Test it, yeah.
Like, I'm the guy who's going to, like, figure it all out and then go, okay, this is what we're doing, guys. Here, go for it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have any desire to drive
You
it.
spent 2 hours hand scraping a small area of rubber off the bottom of it to save
did.
probably 2 ounces. And I was like, what are
I'm
you
like,
doing?
we're allowed to take this off. I'm taking it off.
Yeah. And he was like, I'm weight saving. What are you talking about?
Yeah, this year is so different.
Send it.
I know I'm
Means
not here all
nothing,
day,
but I'm
but
doing it.
this year for Hammers, for all of us, is there's no comparison to the involvement we've had in the years prior, and then from the spectator standpoint for all the years prior. I mean, the first time I ever bought Trailblazers from you was Basil and I, when you showed up late in the Tundi.
And you guys, oh man, that was our,
I don't even remember what year that was.
I think that was our first year with the Trailblazers.
It was.
It was, so that was 5 years ago.
What year is it? Yeah, 5
And
years ago.
Our production was late. It didn't show up on time. We needed them for Hammers. I had them deliver to a friend's house in Moreno Valley, and I took my Tundra, drove over to their house, loaded the back of the truck up, and drove back out to Hammers.
Yeah.
And like we're trying to figure out inventory. We had already pre-sold a ton, so we were like grabbing the ones that we had already sold and separating them so we could ship them. We literally drove to the post office in town to ship a lot of them. And I think you guys were both 3434s, and Dakota. Was it Dakota? There was somebody else too that bought a pair, and we were out. We were sold out at that point of that size. And it's just
He
like,
pulls up. It's pitch. If you haven't been to Hammertown, it's a city in the middle of the desert, and it's pitch black everywhere. But then here comes Josh with just crates full of Trailblazers.
I was just loaded with. I still have the
Just-
picture.
It was.
Yeah, I'm surprised
It
I
was
fit
awesome.
it all in there. And I mean, the year before that, I literally, or 2 years before that, I slept in my truck and was selling T-shirts and hats out of a backpack. Like it's insane. It's been fun, and that's when I met Justin from Factor 55 that year.
Are you going to have a booth or anything?
The first 2 years, no. So a friend took me out. He was like, he heard about the brand, and we had talked. He lives up in Valley Center, this guy Rand, and he had a really badass Jeep. And he's like, you got to go to this event, man. You would love it. And it totally fits with the brand. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, let's go. And we go out, and I'm like, holy shit, this is insane.
Unreal, huh?
Like, we pull into Hammertown, and I'm just like, good God, like, you didn't tell me it was like this. And then we were camping with the guys from Rebel Off-Road, and like, so we were just going out wheeling, and I'm just like, this is amazing. Like, this is everything I would ever want, And the race, they when they do contingency and they stage all the cars in town, and like you can literally walk up, talk to the drivers, check the cars out.
So cool.
It was the coolest thing I'd ever been to. The the freaking coverage they have in town, right? The full movie theater size screens with helicopters chasing the race. Now they have racing drones that like you're getting coverage that you don't get at the NFL.
It's unreal.
It's the most insane thing ever.
Just the ginormous, jumbotron is what you call it, I guess.
Yeah.
That are just everywhere. They're out in the middle of nowhere. You
Right.
don't even understand how you got it out
Yeah.
there. Like,
Now they have one at Backdoor. They have one at Chocolate
Yeah.
Thunder. They have like 3 in town, right? You know,
Yeah.
it's just, it's one of the most well produced events to where if you go there, you get your money's worth.
And when
Yeah.
he says in
Yeah.
town, it's not like in suburbia. It's,
No.
It's in Hammertown, which is a town created in the middle of a lake bed.
Which becomes the largest city in that county for that week.
Yeah.
For 2
Popul-
weeks.
It's over-
Population-wise.
I think
Yeah.
it's over 100K throughout that
Yeah.
week, 2 week
Yeah, yeah.
span,
That's
right?
what
pretty
I heard
rad.
I don't
last
count
year.
I don't count all the pre
Yeah.
stuff because some people are
Yeah.
out there for 2+ weeks. But
Right.
Do you know that last year, last year, just that surrounding community, the small town right outside of Johnson Valley, that we all go get our
What,
groceries
Yucca?
and stuff.
There's like one
Yeah.
gas
They-
station that everyone goes
Yeah,
to.
they saw an influx just over those 2 weeks of $71 million.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
do you know that?
I know things.
She does. She
She
does
knows
her
how to
research.
use the Google.
I do
Yeah.
be remembering important things.
Well, and I remember, so even during 2020, during COVID, or this was the year after, this is 21, right? It was a kind of a big deal that they were putting the race on. In 2020, this was like, I remember being out there and everyone, the rumblings were going to happen. But then the very next year, the New York Times like sent a writer out and was like, all these people are walking around, they don't have masks on. But it was like, you got to do a lot to get into town. Like you got to show up, test, whatever.
Ew.
But it's just like, yeah. But I will say that race, that event is the funnest. Like if you've never been, if you're listening to this, number one, and you've never been, shame on you. Number one, but it is also one of the funnest, like great for family, great for people, like just your homies, your buddies, great for whoever. It's something like you will never experience in your entire life, and it's worth every penny. It's a great race. The coverage is great. I mean, it's
It checks
so
all the
fun.
boxes.
The community in general, and I'm glad you say that because I talked about people at work and what I do for my day job, but not only do they wear off the grid, but they also subscribed, if you haven't, to Bent Motorsports YouTube page, but they are all going to watch King of the Hammers. I
Yeah.
don't know what day. I don't know how they're going to make it work. Some have kids and other, prior obligations, but they're like, you talk about that shit so much. We have to see
Right.
what it is. And like when we go on break and stuff like that, it's kind of sad to say, but I'm the boss there. Can you imagine that?
Yeah,
I'm
it's-
like,
I
hey,
can't
you're on
imagine
break.
that.
Watch
Pretty
this King of
bad.
the
Literally,
Hammers
no.
video.
It's like literally what my
It's your
fucking
government
nightmares are made
dollars.
of.
No,
Hard at
Yeah.
work.
I'm pretty decent. But anyway, I'll show them some of the videos
Can you imagine
or
if we
some of the
worked
pictures. I would make sure they deny you access to base. Just you. You're acceptable.
Oh, thanks.
You're too old and slow.
What the hell?
Yeah, no, you're done. But they're just like, what the hell? I'm like, yeah, dude, like it's a whole different life.
Right.
Like you will never experience anything like that. And it's 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going there the first couple years and just hanging out in Hammertown at night by the fire pit,
Yeah.
and like you meet someone from Iceland, and you're just
Yeah.
like, wait, what? And they're like, oh yeah, we're from Iceland, whatever. Do you want some snuff? It's super weird. And I mean, Iceland, all over Europe, New Zealand. There's guys from New Zealand that had a team there, super rad. Again, the access. You go hang out at the fire pit at night, and there's Shannon Campbell, Jason Shear, Dave Cole shows up that runs the show. Like, it's something like you've never experienced.
Yeah, you can go sit around the campfire and talk to Dave Cole and Randy Slauson. Just
Right.
and they're just regular.
Maybe
old
not
homies.
Randy, but
I don't know, Randy. I met Randy on the Rubicon, and he was just a super cool.
he's super rad,
Homie.
but so quiet.
He's
He's
a
such
quiet
a
dude.
reserved dude.
He's a quiet dude. He's
Yeah,
for
yeah.
sure quiet. We ran into him during the start of last year's race. We were having a problem with the fuel pump on the car. We were putting out there and helping, and as the car is creeping through Hammertown, ready to go out, me and Hunsinger and everybody's on the back of it trying to fix it. And Slauson's like, "You guys, what are you doing? You're supposed to already have the fuel pump in it before you start the race, right?" Because that's some smart comment for us, right? And I'm like, "Oh wow, that's
But you won't even
You
know.
guys know that's
who-
Randy, right? Like he's like superstar over here.
You won't even know who some of these people are until you see them somewhere else.
Well, and those guys would be the first to jump in and be like, "What do you need?"
Totally.
Yeah,
You
bro.
totally.
That's
yeah.
the other amazing thing that
Yeah.
I think, I think a lot of people look at our community and they're like, these are just a bunch of dumb rednecks with, high horsepower
Mm-hmm.
vehicles tearing up the trails, a bunch of assholes throwing beer everywhere. It's not true at all. Like 99% of the people are the most down to earth, amazing people you'd ever meet, to where if you were broken down on the side of the road, they would do whatever it takes to get you home.
Yeah.
And it's the same on the trail. It's the same in the desert. Like, unless you're an absolute jackwagon asshole, and then everyone's going to be like, yeah, sorry, bro. Like, you're going to have to figure this out on your own. Everything else, like, the best people you'd ever meet.
Yeah.
Like, the nicest, kindest people that are just family-driven, like, community-driven, like, lend a hand, give you the alternator out of their truck to keep you going, like, community.
And like we were talking with the last podcast with Bad Lines, Good Times.
We'll probably post that one after this, but
Okay,
yes.
so we did a podcast with Bad Lines, Good Times.
Sorry.
And you'll hear it soon.
Coming soon.
But talking about growing up in Southern California, talking about growing up in Escondido and then this area, and going out to the desert, we all grew up going to the desert, right? And in the desert, our parents and our friends and our peers and everybody taught us that you don't leave somebody in the desert,
Right.
right? If somebody's broken down in the desert, you stop, because if you leave them there, like if you're driving down the I-5 and you see somebody broke down on the side of the freeway, like even now I look at them, I'm like, are they on their phone?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on their phone. They're
You're
good.
good. Yeah.
Right? Like you're good. You're getting 400,000 people a minute passing you, right?
Right.
You're on your phone. You got somebody coming. But in the desert, it doesn't work like that.
No.
Your phone doesn't fucking work.
Yep.
Like you see a motorcycle, a quad, a UTV, somebody broken down, you stop.
You're off the grid.
Yeah, you're off the grid. If you are
You
off
should
the
use
grid,
that.
so you pull over and you stop, and it's ingrained in our heads. That's just how it is. You stop.
Right.
Hey, you good? Everything good? You need something?
Yeah.
And
They
and
may
sometimes
just need a socket.
well, sometimes
Like-
it's like, no, dude, I'm good. My bike broke, but my dad's on his way back to camp.
Right.
He's coming back, and we still toss a kid of water.
Yeah.
Right. Here's a water. Good to go. We're going to be coming back here in an hour. We'll make sure you're still not here.
But
Whatever.
you could be an hour outside of camp, and if that kid's like, man, I need this, you'd be
We
like,
would-
cool. We'll go back to
whatever it would
camp.
take.
We've got one of
Yeah.
those. We'll get it. We'll be back here.
Yeah,
It's almost
whatever
like
it takes.
part of the experience, like kind of like we talked about with Wally and Elliot on the Bad Lines Good Times podcast, is like if you're truly an enthusiast for anything off-road related, it's almost like half of the experience,
Right.
if not more, is the fight, is the
Yeah.
what's gonna fucking happen today and how are we gonna solve it, how are we gonna get out. And I think that that's the coolest thing ever, because like I don't know about you, but like if I see somebody like stuck on the side of the road, no matter who they are, and they need something, and like you said, we're an hour from camp, oh my god, let's fucking go. Like I
Yeah,
I
you get
know it's-
excited,
Well,
like-
and the
it's
fixes
so-
you come up with, right?
Yeah.
Like a normal person would be like, you're going to do what? And you're like, well, I'm going to take this wrench and I'm going to weld it to this part of your vehicle
Yeah.
so that you
I
can
love
drive
that,
15
dude.
minutes. And they're just like, what?
How
Yeah.
many people did we help on the Rubicon?
Oh my
it's
God,
not even the
dude.
desert. It's just off-roading in general.
Dude,
this
I
dude's
love
like,
it.
you have vehicles, and if you haven't been on the Rubicon, it's just an absolutely amazing and beautiful and techie trail experience. But there'd be like the 405, stopped 405 of traffic. And then all of us bent guys, our whole crew, we just, hey, is everyone safe, blah, 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 make our way, working all the way up. And then we'll pull a starter. Well, David will pull a starter, bench test it on the ground with cables, and then the rest of us will direct traffic around. So we're like multitasking to make sure everyone's flowing. Dude, I have so many pictures of literally just the trail being widened by parked vehicles, trying to get close enough to see what it is, but you can't do shit about it because no one's helping or
I mean, a lot of guys on the
something,
Rubicon are
it's like-
savvy, right? A lot of guys know what the
Should
fuck they're
be.
doing, right?
Yes.
But a lot of people don't.
yeah.
And when we show up, for some reason, I don't know if we're a curse or what, but we always end up welding, grinding, cutting, tearing cars apart on the trail. And
Spotting.
and and we walk up and we're always real polite about it, like, hey, what's going on? What are you guys doing? Well, we're doing this, we're doing that, and it's like, cool. Have you checked that? They're like, what do you mean? Well, that's fucking broken.
Yeah.
You need some help with it?
Yeah.
We'd love to help you with it.
Yeah.
And at that point too, sometimes it's the end of the day and it's like, I would help you regardless, but I'm super hungry. So if the sooner I help you fix this, the sooner I get to camp and get
Right.
to eat. So I'm just going to help you. I know you don't want my help, but I'm going to help you.
Right.
I want to kind of pull it back for a second. Speaking about the desert things breaking made me think of KOH is end of January, right? The actual racing.
Yeah.
Yep.
It gets cold as hell out there.
Super cold.
Which made me think about the afterburners.
Oh yeah.
The afterburners are, I mean, you can go into the details, but the winter jacket, California doesn't experience a lot of winter, but Dawn Patrol surfing, I always used to wear mine to go out. Yes, please.
Mule. Whiskey Mule. Thanks, Cutwater. Love you.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
you.
you.
I'll try one of those too. Let's try one of those
Whiskey
out.
Mule's all around.
Cutwater 10.
Yeah,
Or
if you
maybe you
guys
wanna say it so they
go
don't
to
spell it
our
incorrectly.
website, betmotorsports.com.
Can I have a whiskey lemonade, please?
If you listen to this podcast and you go on and make an order in the promo, just put Cutwater 10.
Thank you.
You get 10% off your
Thanks,
purchase.
buddy. So, you know, I don't know if you want to say it or not, but about the torches.
Yep.
I love the afterburners, but the torches are kind of talking a little bit more about elegance and stuff like that. They're a different type of jacket, no hood. I always get compliments on mine at
Not
work.
too bad.
Isn't that
That's good.
Yeah.
And I only have the old jackets, and
Me
things
too.
do eventually start to wear out, obviously. So, are
I
you
have the-
going to bring back the torch jackets?
Yes.
Oh!
You heard it
Thank
here
you.
first.
I don't know if you're supposed to say it or if I pressured you, but I have everyone
Well,
at work that
See,
wears
guys,
their
all we got to do
pants
is
and
pump
hats.
full alcohol, and we're going to get
Like,
all the stuff we need from him.
That's the great thing about the new factory that we're working with is I can do smaller runs, and so it's the same fabric we've used on the Trailblazer pants in the past. And one of the big things I've been wanting to do is bring that jacket back. It's more of like a trucker style. You know, the Afterburner is awesome. It's a soft shell jacket. It has a DWR coating on it. It's a great jacket. It's a great Hammers jacket. I wore the crap out of mine last year at Hammers. It's great for the wind.
That's the one I wore last year. I started looking up real quick. I'm like, I don't know if I had the torch or the afterburner, but I have the afterburner.
Yeah.
And
The
I wore
torch
that
is like
I wore that last year at Hammers, which it was fucking sick.
Yeah.
Great.
literally life saving. What was the jacket before the afterburner called? Because I get a lot of compliments on that too when I still wear it because it had the diamond on the left chest pocket.
Yeah. That was that was a blank that I would buy. So it was
Really?
another company makes that jacket, and we would brand it like you would a shirt or something like that. But it's
No
it's
shit.
another great. It was kind of the inspiration from it, but again, no, like being me, it didn't have the pockets that I wanted and the way that I wanted. It wasn't as
It
stylish.
just fit differently.
Yeah, it's a little baggier than I like, so that's why I came up with the afterburner because I wanted something a little bit more fitted correctly. I wanted a drop tail. I wanted on the afterburner too. I always hated when you get in a vehicle or something and you have a full zip jacket and the bottom just kind of pulls up
Yeah.
and bows up and so on that jacket you can actually zip from the bottom when it's fully zipped up so it splays out so it doesn't bunch up at the bottom, right?
Yes.
So that's why I did that.
Well, you
And
have
then
the back pocket
it's got
also
the
in the
stash
afterburner.
pocket. It's got the chest pocket here. You can put radio, whatever, in there. So,
I do have a question. So you have two colors for the afterburner.
yep.
Will you ever implement a different color, even if it's just navy or?
When we sell out of
gray.
them, the ones we have.
Yeah. All right, guys, start going and buy afterburner jackets.
So this is the newest color. This is the newest color for Trailblazers that we have. It's called the Deadwood.
Can I show it?
Yeah. So
Dead-
if you know,
it's a sick color.
I was
rad.
so stoked on it, and if you know our stuff, it's like in between coyote and dark brown. It's like if those two had a baby, boom, Deadwood. It's a rad color, and this is in our canvas fabric. But on the new fabric, we've upgraded as well. So it's now a 97.3 cotton lycra. It has more stretch. It's more flexible. It's heavier weight. It's going to be a freaking awesome pant. I'm super excited for them. But I also had that color dipped in our pro fabric as well, our nylon fabric.
Oh, sick.
And it looks so good. And so hopefully down the road, this was we had to relaunch this pant first. This is our number one. This is like the cornerstone of our business is our Trailblazer pants. And so after that will come denim, I think, next. We're resourcing in a factory in Mexico.
Thank you.
Yep. And so, again, American-grown cotton. Literally, once they're done with production, it takes the truck a day or two to get to the border in Texas and can get it across. So, a lot shorter
So-
timelines than waiting for it
the
to come
flexibility of
from
these pants
overseas.
I think people don't really realize until they put them on.
Right.
Again, I work on base on helicopters, but my 20 minutes
What
at
do you
the
work
gym
on?
during lunch. Helicopters.
Oh.
Light attack helicopters.
Okay.
It's not just what he does when he gets out of the shower.
But
Sorry, moving on.
I wish.
Don't
Like,
worry, I can't
so
do it either.
with the minimal amount of time, like I don't change to go to the gym. A lot of people have gym attire, sweatpants, shorts. Like I said, sometimes
Why
I'll
did
work
you have
out.
to give us that visual?
And
Sorry.
it's not
She's
a bad
dying
visual.
over here.
I don't want to look at you right now.
So anyway,
All right, Kevin, we don't care about what
so
you're talking about
the
anymore.
flexibility, I do.
No.
The flexibility of these pants, not only to work, but you can actually. I work out in my jeans or my Trailblazers every day. 'Cause
Really?
I don't. Yes, I don't have time to change. I really don't. I wear my steel toe boots and I wear
Jay?
my Trailblazers or my. Shut the fuck up, David. Or my Trailblazers.
Come on, we're
I'm-
gonna tell
no,
gym stories.
I'm dead ass serious. Like people are like, "Why are you gonna work out in those?" And I do it, and they're like,
Dead ass
well,
on baby, no cap.
No, okay.
You guys
So
are the worst.
no, so Kevin and I, we used to work out in the mornings, right? Like I would.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, remember? Yeah. So
I remember that for a week too.
yeah, best guy to work out with, right? Because he keeps you laughing. He would show up. He would show up with off the grid. He'd wear a baseball hat. I don't know who can wear a baseball hat while they work out, but he's got a baseball
do.
hat on. Like Kevin. Kevin is. I mean, he's a Marine, right? He's got his uniform. He puts it on every day, and he gets shit done, right? But he would get to the gym, and I don't know if you ever watched the Muppets back in the old days, right? Like up in the
Absolutely.
balcony, there's the old fuckers.
100%.
Okay, so me and my buddies, we're all the old fuckers, and we would go up at LA Fitness on the balcony area where the treadmills are. And we would get there at 5 a.m. when they open, or no, 6 a.m.? I think they opened at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., 5 a.m., whatever, fuck. We'd get there, and we'd be up there on our treadmills, you know, walking, talking, you know, looking at the CNN, talking shit, being the old men, right? Looking down at everybody, like judging everybody.
Absolutely.
Look at this motherfucker with his stupid hat on. Like
That's
he
what you
comes
get
in
when you
every
get
day.
older. That's
Right?
That's part of the
Right.
the benefit.
So then Kevin starts going, yeah, I'm going to come in early and work out with you guys. We're like, sick, no problem. Well, he was almost late, right? So we'd be up there already for 15, 20 minutes talking shit. But to make up for it, he would come in the front door and he knew we were up there. And he'd look up at us and go, guys. And he'd start waving and he'd have like his towel and his like, I don't know, his phone and like a water bottle. And he'd like fake trip. And he'd fucking garage sale all of his shit. And he'd land face down on the thing and he'd get up and he'd look around and everybody in the place is staring at him and we're dying because, yeah. And it just made our morning because Kevin doesn't give two fucks what anybody thinks about him. It was hilarious.
We're back.
Oh, we're back.
We're back.
We're live.
Wait.
We'll do it live.
We're live. You don't even know it.
We took a quick pee break.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I got TB, tiny bladder. There was a. I've been listening to this book, Tim Grover. I don't know if you know him. He was Michael Jordan's trainer and Kobe's trainer. He was like, he's badass, and he said these guys have their PhDs. These guys that would hang around a lot of these pros, and it's the professional dick holder or professional holder of dicks.
Oh my god.
I was like, that's the best thing I've
Kevin,
ever
you're an acronym guy. Come on. This is right up your
I didn't know
alley.
what that was.
Being as the VP,
You
such
know
a
what that
VIP,
one was.
don't
I
you think we
usually
should
say-
keep the PC on the QT? Because if at least the VC, he could get MIA and we could all get KP.
I feel like
That was
I've
Robin
never-
Williams.
I feel like I've never been in
Right?
the military.
That was-
now
hey,
that he
good
said
morning,
that.
Good
Vietnam.
morning, Vietnam.
Good morning, Vietnam. Time
What's
to rocket
3
from the
up and
Delta to
3
the
down?
DMZ.
Well, see, that stuff I understand.
Sorry.
What's 3 up and 3 down mean to you?
And in the
End of an
ending,
inning. Great movie.
I'm on to you. I'm a lawnmower and your ass is grass.
I love the guy keeps trying to start the engine. It's like always on.
It's on.
God, what a great
If
movie.
the motor's
that was.
running, that means it's on.
That means it's on. Man, good
You're
times.
not a Good Morning Vietnam person. Or
They're
it's
all
it's
really
old.
young. They're all really
What
young.
about Full Metal Jacket?
So I've watched like 3 movies in my
Yeah,
life.
what are they? Indian in a cupboard.
I've watched
Oh, that's
Indian
The
in
Notebook.
on VHS.
Well,
Talladega Nights,
fantastic.
Word.
and we were just talking about the other day. What's the third one?
I don't know.
I
don't know,
want to say
there's a
Step
third
Brothers.
one.
That's a good movie.
Man, I
You should
haven't even
watch
seen it.
Days of Thunder if you watch
Oh,
Talladega.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, yeah, that's
Fast
a good
Times
one,
is
too.
good. You haven't watched Days of Thunder?
No,
My son's
man.
named Cole.
Hell yeah.
I know that.
Trickle?
Yeah, dude, I named him Cole from Days of Thunder. And my wife will deny it. She's listening right now, I know.
Hey, so I named my son
Hi,
from
Shelly.
the Mighty Ducks. Gunner.
Gunner.
That's where I got Gunner
See?
from. Gunner Stall.
That's rad. And Gunner's a rad name. I wanted to name Cole Jet.
Oh, that's good. There's a
2 T's,
kid.
Jet Beckett. I mean, that's a fucking name, right?
So on my girlfriend's son's baseball team,
He could be JB.
there's a kid
Yeah.
named God, you just killed me. It's Jet. Now I'm thinking of your Jet.
don't know, man.
Jet Black.
Jet Black.
Yeah.
Jet Black.
That's a cool
That's a
name.
fucking
That's a
rad
cool name.
Yeah.
I just think Jet Beckett. That's like a quarterback name.
Yeah,
that's
that's good.
But my wife's like, no, dude, we're not naming our kid that. And so
Like
we
Kenny the Snake Stabler.
right, like that's a rad name.
That's a really rad name. I had a customer at my last job whose name was Richard Balls.
Dick Balls.
That's-
My dad had Richard Holder was one of his clients.
No.
I used to
That's
work for
pretty
him,
bad.
and I would make copies of his. He was an accountant.
Dick
and I would-
Holder?
Yeah, Richard Holder was
That's
his
pretty
guy's
bad.
name. It was,
Huh? Oh, that's good.
I almost pissed my pants. I was laughing so hard when I was doing this guy's. I was making copies for his tax return, and I was just like, this guy's name is really Richard Holder. And he's like, I know, it's pretty bad.
I just don't like. It's not his fault, right? I'm just.
It's not
I
his
picture
fault.
the moment in the
His parents should
delivery
be taken
room.
out and flogged. For
You
sure.
don't
Yeah,
change it legally.
where you're like, okay, so here's our last name. What's like the only thing that we shouldn't fucking name this baby? Got it. Like
I've got a
what?
good one that
But did it mean
the person then in my life that will no longer be named wanted to name our daughter Evidence.
Oh wow.
She's like, we can call her Evie for short. And I was like, well, why don't we just fucking call her Evie then?
This Evie is a good. Yeah, that's
It's
a fine name.
It's a much better.
That's a fine name.
I was like, what is evidence that we had sex? That's a terrible name.
That's terrible.
Have you seen that list of like things that could be really beautiful names for kids, but like you can't name your child like chlamydia, or like
That's a beautiful
I
name.
haven't
Kinda
seen
sweet,
it, but
actually.
I
Yeah.
would totally want to see
like
that now.
felony. Like that'd be such a beautiful
Felony,
girl's name,
yeah.
but like no.
I'm almost positive there's probably some girls named Felony.
Yeah.
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 Well, I mean, they named a
Now
bunch of
coming
girls.
to the stage,
gonna
Felony,
say, yeah,
stage
there's
one, stage one.
Chastity.
Don't
on
forget to
stage
tip your
2.
waitress.
Dude, I'm so glad you're here.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this went south fast.
Sorry.
No,
So
it
that-
would,
That's good.
That's what post editing is for.
Yeah.
Post haste.
No, none of this is getting cut.
Oh, dude, we're leaving it all in, everybody.
You need a blooper reel.
Oh,
Our whole
trying to get
podcast
good
is a
at that.
blooper reel.
Fantastic.
Hey, so here's
I'm
another
for
thing.
Oh, no, I had a question. And you're screwing me up again because you keep talking about fucking helicopters.
I didn't
Yeah.
talk about
Nobody
helicopters in
cares.
a while.
Yeah, put your dick away.
God. We get it, dude. You're cool. You fly helicopters.
I have
God.
invited you guys to my work
Apaches.
though, on a real.
Were you a big fan of Airwolf as a kid?
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Oh
You know
my
what I did
God.
as a kid? I got beat.
All right.
Like jerked off? Or?
Way to fucking
What are you
kill the
talking about?
mood.
In a circle?
Hit the button. Not that one.
That was a good one. I like that.
That works. Now where's the want button?
even better.
Nope,
I like
that's
to just
not
play
it.
button roulette.
Yeah, I spent a lot of money.
There it is.
All right, no, serious question. Serious question. And you can roast me on this if you want because
sweating.
it's probably dumb. But I am old, and as I get older, my ghetto booty is shrinking. And I'm turning more into like a Troy
What was
figure.
that?
Wait,
What'd you
sorry.
call that?
What did
My ghetto booty. I had
No,
a
that's
booty.
I thought you said gutter booty.
No, ghetto booty, right?
That's your McDonald's butt.
I don't have a Jake Russo butt, but I do have still a little butt. But as I get older, it's depleting.
Okay.
And
Wait. That's some terminology I'm not familiar with.
Ghetto
What is
booty?
a ghetto booty?
You know what a
What?
ghetto booty is?
Dump truck?
Well, I know. I've
Junk
heard
in
of
the
a dump
trunk?
truck, but ghetto booty?
Yeah.
Ghetto
Well,
booty
it's
is
new
like
for
a
you. New
big
for you,
booty.
old for me.
Oakland hair with a ghetto booty.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Anyways.
Rub that smooth skin. Girl, you want to get in my Benz?
So I don't know
Baby
how.
got back. Come on.
I'm either gonna. You're gonna admit that you're gonna do something cool, or you're gonna prove that I'm an idiot. When are you gonna make overalls, man?
Oh my
Oh,
God.
that's a good question.
I want to throat punch you right now.
Right? I knew he was
We
gonna
were on
hate
the
me. I
same
knew
boat.
he
I
was
was
gonna
gonna
hate
ask
me.
about
I knew he was
new
gonna hate me.
stuff.
But you go to. He lives in Texas now. They fucking wear
Wait,
overalls out there.
wait. You want to throat punch him because he just exposed your idea or because you hate the idea?
I'm sure he hates it.
No. So
Oof.
people
It's
have
like
been
me
asking
working on
me
a
to make
Volkswagen.
overalls now
Fuck
for
yeah, we have.
years. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone that is on my team that knows me is going to be like, yeah, asshole, like, when are you going to make overalls? Because they've been asking me forever. Ever.
Dude, that would work. Because
And I'm like, can we just make money again? Can we do that first?
we'll make money,
and then
get
right.
flush.
Can we? Yeah.
Then will you consider?
So
it?
again, new factory,
New
small
factory.
runs, boot
Small
cuts,
runs. I
was gonna
gray
say
man
that.
line, torch jackets, overalls.
Yeah.
Right. For
Because-
the
'cause I-
ladies
'cause I go
and
to-
the gentlemen.
Because I go to Hammers and I have a pair of overalls that I'll wear.
Well, then what do I like to do on products? Do you think I'm just going to make overalls?
No.
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 There's going to be beer compartments.
Yeah, you're gonna go
There's
over the
gonna
top.
be compartments
if I have
for
a
your
little stashes,
pistola, you know, like
my soda pop.
Hey, so
Yeah.
What?
is there a potential
Really?
to wear a
Yeah.
select few at this year's KOH?
Well, he's got to design them probably.
What can
That's
we just
easy.
use extra fabric right now and make our own?
I don't have extra fabric right now, but I might before KOH.
Okay.
Is that what we want before? So let's
Dude,
Yes.
oh my God.
right,
Team
hold on.
uniform.
Yes.
let's have a conversation right now
Dude.
because for KOH coming up, I can only do so much. I know you guys aren't going to say boot cut, so then we've got torch
Dude,
jacket
they could be skinny jean fucking things. I'll wear them.
or overalls.
Yeah.
Overalls. Everyone wants overalls.
Dude,
Am I allowed to include this in the podcast? Like, this is public knowledge?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh
Dude.
my God.
Okay,
You're
so-
making
overalls-
overalls?
overalls, why I like them being older, what I was trying to get at being older is it's just so much easier for me.
See, I remember wearing them in junior high and
Yes.
elementary
Right,
school
and we
where it
hated
was
them.
like you did the one shoulder off, you know,
Yes.
Jonathan Taylor
Yeah, but I'm not
Thomas,
kid and play,
like,
you know?
No.
Like, I
the short overall, shorts overall, like
You wear those.
Even
Wahlberg
snowboarding.
back in the
No.
day, you know?
can wear
Baby,
them
times have changed. Dad bods,
they?
overalls, in.
Yeah, really.
You can wear.
I'm in.
My
Dude, I would-
snowboarding pants.
imagine
are
that color.
overalls.
Yeah.
That
I
color
will
right
wear-
there.
That'd be good.
Fuck, dude, I would wear that.
I will wear the overall snowboarding.
Well,
My
they just made
current-
like mountain bike riding overalls. There's all these brands that have made overalls. I shit the bed on that one, to be honest.
And not bibs,
And my
right?
team
no
will make
bibs,
fun
not,
of me.
not
No.
pant bibs, like
Overalls.
genuine
Yes.
overalls.
Yes.
Right.
That I mean, I would wear them every day here at the shop.
Yep.
Every day.
Alright.
and not
And
like big
because
fat
I have
buttons
3
and
pairs of
stuff,
overalls
but-
at home, but I hesitate wearing them because they're a different brand,
That's smart.
and I'm
You
brand
shouldn't wear 'em.
loyal.
Yeah.
I'm brand loyal.
No, you
I don't know if you
didn't-
guys know that about me.
You didn't shit the bed on this one at all, because I can only think of one other company that is like a staple overall that I've seen at like off-road related things, and there's a lot of people that really don't want to support that company anymore because of
Oh.
some events in some recent years.
Yeah,
so
did they make their employees all get vaccinated? That's
Maybe
weird.
I don't know.
The,
Did they
sorry,
add a
I've
vaccination
seen-
flap on their
I've seen
shirts?
two
The jab.
pair in the moto industry.
Yeah.
That
Fast House.
yes.
They're
I don't wanna
awesome.
say it.
I love Fast House.
Their
Their stuff's
fucking
super cool.
tits. Like
Yeah.
they
I'm
look
not a
rad.
hater, man. I
But
love
the
everyone succeeding.
Hey,
They're
there's,
rad.
there's plenty of room in the
super rad.
market
Yes.
for
100%.
2 pairs
This
of
is a
overalls.
different market.
100%. There's room for plenty of overalls.
Well, those are so much different though.
And
Those
well,
are
and
riding
mine are gonna have pockets that no one else has.
But
Yeah,
if there's
see,
if there's
I'm
a
in,
decision
dude.
between torch jacket and overalls,
Let's just
I
do
will,
both. Let's do
well,
both.
You can do both, but you can wear your afterburner with
You could.
because you don't.
Or
it's like
flannel.
people wearing like denim tops and denim bottoms. Like yeah, it's cool.
It's
like,
called a
in the 80s.
Canadian.
On the
tuxedo.
ladies ones?
Yeah, that. But
Well, you could do it on all of them, but on the ladies ones, you could do like the wool lined, fleece lined,
Oh yeah.
or whatever.
No, it's already.
Sherpa.
Sorry. Oh, never mind. My brain.
You're
is
always
somewhere
cold.
else. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
right.
No.
Well, they make those like snap-on ones that have like they're like, it's probably like
Yeah.
taffeta lined with like a filler
I mean, those are for people who work in cold weather, like hardcore people.
or
which-
hammers.
can you
Yeah,
make
or
them
hammers,
with like
yeah.
zipper knees so they can turn into?
Stop.
No.
Yeah, no, you drew the line.
Fine,
I will
Not-
never make zip offs.
Yeah.
We've
Fine.
had
I'm
people
not
that
fine
show up
lines.
every single show since I've ever done
Chance.
shows that are literally like, did you make those zip off pants yet? And I'm like, not gonna happen.
What
That's
is
cool, dude.
this,
I'm okay
like-
with you drawing the line. See, this is what I was worried about, was that he was going to draw the line at, no, I'm not going to make those, right? But he's only drawn the line at Shantz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
yeah, because this is not 2001
Well-
off or no fear gear.
Whoa,
Kevin.
hey, bad boy
I
club.
wish I had that. Back
Bad boy club. Hang on.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about zip offs, and this is why we'll never make them. Is it totally ruins the integrity of the pants. So when they're actually pants, they don't stretch because zippers don't stretch. There's no stretch in zippers,
Right.
and so when they're zipped on, that segment of the bottoms don't stretch. So if you went to bend down, they would bind up. It would be shitty, and then when you zip them off, one, you look like a goofy ass, but then two, now you got zipper teeth like hanging out. Like I don't
Digging
like
in
it.
Not
your
only
legs.
that, I remember the Jinkos back in
yeah,
like middle
I remember
school that had
Jinkos
the
too.
zip offs, right? And then when I was skating and biking at the time, you fall on that zipper on
yeah.
your knees,
It doesn't
you're
feel good.
thrashed, dude.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Done.
Did you wear zips too? The shoes? Remember zips? Do you
I
remember
didn't
zips?
wear those. I wore Jimmy Z's or Airwalks.
Yeah, but you were cool.
Hell yeah.
I just shop at Kmart.
Yeah. So
where
we used to
was
buy court classics from Costco because we would skate so much we would tear holes in everything.
Right.
So it's like
Chugu, baby.
$20 court classics from Costco. Like
Thrash them, get a new pair.
boom.
I couldn't skate. My brother was a skater. My brother's still a skater. Is he 50 yet? No, he's not 50.
Skate or die.
He's like 48.
It's so fun. It hurts though.
Sorry, John. I don't know how you're old. 40, late 40s. And he fucking shreds, dude. You can take him to a pool or a ramp or anywhere right now, and he'll just fucking get down.
It's so fun.
He's so good at skating. I always sucked at it. I was always big, though. You know, like, you can't be like a real big guy.
Yeah.
I think I showed you.
You hit hard.
Dude, like if a tree falls in the woods, do you hear it? If it's me, you do.
Yeah.
Fucking hear
That's
it.
a redwood.
Yeah, I don't care where you're at. You're hearing me fall.
I think
That's
I
a
showed you
giant
recently Marley like dropping into a quarter pipe and stuff like that, right? So my 8-year-old is skating a lot,
That's
and
awesome.
that has gotten me back into it to where I can do like little front sides on
Right.
a flat rail and basic flip tricks, varial hill, stuff like that. But same thing, I went to do a pivot one time on a box, dude, and the wheel caught and it slipped out, and I just went flat back on the coping.
Yeah.
And I wanted to
Us
just
old guys, we
have-
don't bounce like we used to.
No way,
No.
man.
It hurts.
Absolutely not.
It hurts a lot more.
Yeah, I'm curious this year. This will be the first season. So desert season starts in a few weeks. And
Fantastic.
I
Yeah.
just had my knee fixed over the off season. So I'm curious to see how the season goes.
His knee had a baby.
My knee had a baby.
You're gonna be like those professional motocross dudes with your own custom Don Joy like mechanical knee brace.
Yeah, something. All I'll do is I'll think about Travis Pastrana. I'll go, that guy would just go
Yeah.
rip. He wouldn't give a
Oh,
fuck.
dude.
He would
Yeah.
just go, right? He wouldn't bitch about it.
No,
I'm just going to go. I'm not going to bitch about it. Right?
he'd
Just gonna
laugh.
go.
He'd get American flag printed
Yeah.
knee brace and just
Just
hammer
go.
it.
Dude, do you know how many concussions that guy's had?
Oh,
Isn't that insane to think about sometimes?
How many? I don't
Do you know what the actual number is?
I don't.
But it's a lot. Like
It's got to be pretty high.
it's-
It's got to be triple digits.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
that
got to
many?
be.
I know it's definitely double, but
Well, okay, let's say, how many concussions has he had that have been diagnosed? Probably double digits. How many
At
has he
least.
had?
No,
had?
okay, so for reference,
Or
I've
he
had
just
12
went in and had a-
concussions in my life. 12. That
What the
That
already
explains
Kevin?
a lot.
that
Yeah. That's a
already
lot,
explains a
Kevin.
lot.
that already is a very high number.
yeah.
But people of that
Well,
stature,
football guys who have that,
Yes.
what's that?
CTE.
CTE, like how many concussions are they getting in their career where,
Oh man.
like how many of them are just not even diagnosed? Because they're
Right,
like, I'm
so
not going to say
smash
shit
it.
because trainer's going to take me out of the game, right?
But that makes those dudes like angry and punch holes in walls. It makes Travis Pastrana just keep throwing thumbs up. Like it has the opposite
Nicest
effect.
dude ever.
Yeah. What the
Nicest
hell?
guy I've ever
Yeah.
met.
Do you know when my last
Because
concussion
doctors
was?
are wrong.
It was we went. What event did we go to? It was a Corva event. My last concussion was I think a couple years ago. I was jumping into the Ford
At
after I
Aqua
got
Wells?
done speaking. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. I
And
remember that.
Yeah, I went and jumped into the truck. I was talking to Sam with Deadman. I was looking this way, jumped in the truck with a 77, and just my neck just went straight down. And I like quick blackout for a second, continued talking, drank more that night. The next morning, I went up to Bear, and I was gonna meet a bunch of friends to go boarding, and whatever. I'm hitting the terrain
That
park and
altitude
stuff
is
like
not
that.
good for that.
I was fine.
Really?
It's,
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's so bad.
I didn't know that.
I was fine, right? I just thought I was really tired, and then I sat down to take a sip of beer for lunch, and I like lost all my vision. Like I wasn't thirsty, I wasn't hungry, I was confused, and I was like, I'm gonna go home. Like
I
don't
remember this,
I don't
yeah.
know what's wrong with me.
I remember talking to you, and you were like, "This is I
Dude.
don't. This is not good."
It was bad. So
Yeah.
then I get to my truck, and again, this is when the Ford wasn't even running that well. Like I
Yeah.
can't even believe I made it up the mountain, and I sat in my truck for 3.5 hours, thinking I was getting ready to leave. Like I'll leave any minute, right? I don't remember anything. My buddies are now leaving from boarding the day, and they're like, "What are you still doing here?" Right? Truck's been running the whole time. I'm like, again, thinking I'm ready to go, and my buddy.
He didn't die of carbon monoxide.
Andrew
poisoning.
looks at me, and my eyes
Right?
are just gone, dude.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so they drive me home. I go to the hospital, and I had a major concussion.
Yeah.
And if I was hitting the rails and the jumps and stuff like that, if I would have fallen on my head once, it would have killed me. I had no idea.
Man,
That was a couple years ago, I think.
That's wild.
Last concussion I had.
Worst concussions I've ever had were snowboarding in the mountains.
It was gnarly.
Dude, it's
I
like
used
the
to be
easiest
cool.
way to injure yourself. I swear
I've
to
never
God.
officially had one.
Ugh.
That's good. So you were just born retarded.
Yeah.
Talk funny, braces on his legs, but trying the pants on Nixon and won a ping pong tournament.
Yep.
All right.
Got a lot of stock in Apple though, so
Hey.
you know.
Yeah, that ain't real.
Oh, gosh.
All I'm saying is if we ever decide to just do like if this podcast makes it big and we need like
When?
4 official.
Not if.
Sorry.
There you go.
No, that's normally my mindset. Thank you for correcting me.
Yeah,
Win
she's
this
not a
podcast.
forward thinker. Sometimes.
Are you kidding me?
Hannah, I've had some cut waters.
Hannah's helped us so much, man.
That's
That's the truth. That's the truth. Hannah is like Yosemite Sam, though. Again, this is a cartoon from my era.
Speaking of Yosemite Sam.
Yeah, he's got the Yosemite Sam going over here. He was a
Well,
little,
I say, boy.
he was a little cowboy. He was a little cowboy with pistols, and he used to cuss a lot. And so he'd just sit there and he'd just circle, and he'd just be pissed. I can see her. She's editing videos over there, and she's like, just
Just Yosemite Sam in it.
yeah, just Yosemite Sam and it all
Whatever,
afternoon.
dude.
But she's killing it. She's killing it. But also, Hannah's also been in charge of getting us sponsors for our race car at Hammers, and she's killing it there too. But if you'd like to help us get to Hammers, we could use cash.
Hammer down.
So
Yeah. Make the check out to
if any-
cash.
Yeah, if anybody wants their face on the hood of my Jeep, like you give me enough money.
Or someone else's face.
Yeah.
Yeah, or someone
You know
else's
what?
face. I'll put a giant picture of your face on my hood, just being like, and
Who
then you're
did
like our
that?
lead sponsor.
I can't remember who it was. At Hammers last year, I was with Blake Wilkie and Kevin, and there was somebody. Man, I can't remember right now what the company was, but they printed out a sticker of the owner of the company, and it was like 3 feet tall. And they
Yes.
said, if you
Why
put
do I
this
not
on the
remember
car
this?
and you win, we'll give you $1,000, expecting him to not do it. And he did it, of course.
Yeah.
The next morning,
Fantastic.
we drove over there, and the guy's like, "Damn it, dude! Like, what the
That's
hell?"
what I'm talking
That's
about.
epic.
That's what I'm talking about.
Did he win?
Yeah,
Was it on the Class 11?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
So we should do that. If you want just a ginormous sticker of your face, yeah. we'll
By the
do
way,
it.
the Class 11 race at King of the Hammers, amazing.
I want to do it so
One of
bad.
the coolest things.
I wanna do it
so
so
fun.
bad.
The Class 11 in any race is.
It's fun. Do
the
they just
most
do it on
epic.
the infield area and around a little
No,
bit
they
of the
go out
desert?
in the desert too.
They go out
Yeah, a
in the
little bit
desert?
in the desert.
Yeah.
It's like a 2-3 mile loop, I think.
Yeah, it's
But,
so rad.
Oh man, when they come through the short course and they're just door to door,
Yeah,
like,
those guys are banging.
mixing it up. It's fucking rad.
Yeah, those
that
guys
was
are
one of the
banging.
coolest things they added. When we lost the high dive competition at Hammers, that was a sad day.
What?
You weren't there for. Oh,
I
well,
I don't think I
so,
ever
okay.
saw the high
I've only
dive.
been alive for like 12 years. Fill me in.
Okay. So at Hammers before KMC Wheels every year would put on a diving like a belly flop competition in their booth, right? And one year, yeah. So alcohol belly flop competition in a small pool, right? Above ground pool,
Like how deep?
4 feet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's so if you hit the pool, you're good. On this occasion, didn't happen. So
Don't miss the pool.
this dude literally was visibly drunk. Maybe I shouldn't say that. He looked okay.
He looked fine.
KOH is so different, man.
And it's so different. He jumps, does like a backflip, misses the pool, catches his nose on the edge of the pool, and rips his nose off. And it's literally hanging by like in between his eyebrows, like flapping off his face.
I'm never going to be the
That's
same.
rough.
But yeah, it was an amazing. My buddy Dakota Moore, shout out Dakota Moore, used to put on a American flag speedo.
Okay, don't just move past that detail.
Yeah.
Go back.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So they just don't do it
And
anymore.
everyone was there, like 30,000 people around watching.
And
There's video. You can look it up. Look it up. It's amazing.
what?
So with that, I do want to say something
There
serious,
might have
though.
been some legal ramifications after that. And
Yeah.
There's no longer a belly flop competition at KOH.
You know, sorry, I'll
You're good, you're
let you
good.
talk in just a second. But what I was gonna say is that almost, I don't even want to say this, but I'll say it. Almost everybody I know has a story. I feel like I'm doing a disjustice to the off-road industry by saying this because I'm like
Yeah,
making it sound
we are
bad.
who we are.
Everyone has a story about KOH that they feels like I can't tell that. I can't repeat that story because it's
But
gonna.
that's what's fun
But
about
then,
KOH.
when then you get to share them, and it's like, what?
If you've never been to KOH, like we've said a few times in this podcast, preface it by going out and renting on Netflix Mad Max Thunderdome.
Right. Mixed with Burning Man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Burning Man.
Yeah.
Watch a Burning Man documentary and Mad
Less
Max Beyond
hippies,
Thunderdome.
more V8s.
Right, and then
Race fuel V8s.
that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
But with
Yeah.
all that, and I do want to be serious for a second, is with
Do you?
all
Whatever,
of these.
dude.
I know.
God damn it.
I
What a
know.
buzzkill.
I'm sorry.
Kevin!
But I
Hit
don't
the
want it to
button.
be shut. I don't want it to be shut down. I don't
Wrong
want it to
button
be shut
again.
down. We were talking about this with Bad Lines, Good Times, right?
Yeah.
All of like
Yeah.
Sorry to be a damper in this, but it's what we love to do, and I don't
right.
ever want to stop doing it. The amount of people and money and organizations not only trying to helping, but quadruple that's the amount of people that are trying to take all of that away from us.
So here's the great thing about that, and I'm going to preface it this way, is in every community,
I'm sorry.
you have pieces of shit. To the point that how many campsites have you been to? How many dispersed areas have I gone to where literally it's not vehicle-based, there's people camping, and they're hikers, and they literally have left shit, literal shit, everywhere.
Yeah.
Toilet
Right.
paper,
Yep.
trash, everywhere. Fire pits that haven't been, broken glass bottles inside. So my retort to that is it's not the off-road community. It's community at large. There will always be a fraction of the community that is unknowledgeable, disrespectful, just entitled a-holes that ruin it for everybody. And it's in every community. It's every community in general, period. And so they definitely lean on that, right, as a way to try and, we're a different crowd of people. But in that, it doesn't mean that our fun and what we enjoy to do should be outlawed.
It
Right.
also, they don't need the specific
We're not
type
clubbing
of
baby
person
seals.
doing it.
Yeah, it's
so
not on
the
camera.
people that are doing this, besides that small percentage, are the people that go to spectate. KOH
Right.
has grown significantly over the past, I'll even just say 5 years, right?
Right.
A lot of people that go out just to see the event that don't have any off-road knowledge, any etiquette, etc., just want to go see the chaos of the racing, see the builds from all over the country and the world that go there, meet the people, and they don't know shit about the off-roading part of it. So backdoor, Chocolate Thunder at night, you have people that have no idea what these rear steer vehicles are going to do going up backdoor, are right at the bottom of the drop and wind up being right next to a kick and potentially could get hurt.
Right.
And it happens, unfortunately.
But so in that case too, and in all of these cases, I think that's what's the most important about being a part of the community.
Fact.
Right? And so at every one of these events, at every trail ride we go to, at every time you're off-roading, you have the opportunity to represent this community in a positive way and to be the example that needs to happen so that we can keep these things alive for our children and their children, because in the reality, if we don't, it's going to be gone. And what I've always said, because I've seen this, is, and I've said this in the mountain biking community as well, is the one community that you will see that does this the best, and they're still struggling, is the firearms community. And how they do that is they self-tax themselves on ammunition, on tags, on all of these things, and they take that money and they put it back into conservation. And I've been saying this for years in the off-road community. I've been saying it in the mountain bike community. If we as a community are not taking if you're willing to spend 50 grand on a rig, 100 grand on a rig, even 25 grand on a rig, but you're not willing to put $100 into one of these nonprofits that helps keeps our trails open, you're an idiot. Because what you're doing is you're going to have a badass rig that you're going to park in the garage, you're going to drive to the mall, because you're not going to have any trails to go on. And so it's our job as the community to educate people, to be advocates for what we're doing, and to also give back to what we're doing. And to be honest, I don't feel like had good opportunities as a community to do so. And I'm not saying it's anyone's fault, but we need to figure out these ways where we do fundraisers. We do art projects where it's like, we do an auction. We have so many amazing artists, community people that we can do an art show and sell stuff and give back. Take that money, give back, keep trails open, work on advocacy, work with Tread Lightly, work with all of these local. I think the problem is we're so fractional as a community, right? Pre-runners, Jeepers, Toyotas, side-by-sides, right? It's so broken up that there hasn't been anyone that kind of channel all of that energy into keeping it open for all of us.
I will say that Bent Motorsports is starting with our Tony Tuesdays, second Tuesday
Fantastic.
of every month. We have some badass pre-runners that go there. We have Sammys that go there, Jeeps.
It is definitely
a
an
Class
off-road event. If
9.
you guys see it, just because we're a Jeep shop.
Yes.
It is an off-road event. It's for everybody in the off-road industry to go check out and hang out. So
Perfect.
we want everybody there.
Yeah. absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what we need more of. And, you know, I hate to say it, I mean, we've done a great job at like idolizing our off-road racers and, you know, doing things to put them in the Hall of Fame, whatever, this and that. But the reality is these other communities, surf community, snowboard community, they, as businesses, specifically do fundraisers to give back to the community, to keep trails open, to work on advocacy, to do all of these things. And they put a shit ton of money in there.
Yeah, I mean, like we found out with the San Diego Off-Road Coalition, they lost their lobbyist in Sacramento, and you know their whole program, all the money we donate goes to paying the lobbyists. The lobbyists, we need lobbyists up in Sacramento who are going to bat for us, right?
Yeah.
These are trained people who know how to go deal with those things, and we need to pay them. So I know that's a big push. San Diego Off-Road Coalition right now is really pushing to try to get a new lobbyist. I don't think they've got a new one.
And it's great that you bring that up. Like that, we need to talk about this. Like this needs to be a community effort.
Yeah, they need it. So if you guys could go to their website, give a little, $5, whatever, $2, whatever. Everything helps,
Well, not only from the financial standpoint, like the whole goal of us, growing as Bent Motorsports and the things that we want to do as a team and as a family, is to solidify the foundation of knowledge in the off-road community.
Right.
From driving to repairs, all everything, what encompasses our passion and our life. And once that is understood and hopefully maintained and passed, we will run, hopefully again, into less issues of people being complacent. Not to say non-compliant, like there's laws in this stuff, but just to have that core concept of, hey, I want to continue to do this. Let's do the right thing. And
Right.
let's spread that knowledge to this random team of 3 that we're letting pass us on the trail because they, are going a little bit slower or whatever the case may be.
Well, and
That's the real trick right
yeah.
there.
And I mean, I was talking to somebody about this today. Like what's the appeal of off-roading? What's the appeal? I mean, I remember growing up here in San Diego, like one of the appeals of going to Mexico was like, you feel free. Like
Yeah.
it was a free space to do what you wanted to do. You go camp on the beach, you go, you're 16, you maybe had a couple beers and, on Revolution Street, but it's freedom. Going to the desert when you were a kid was freedom. Like
Yeah.
you jump on your bike and you go ride.
Wherever
Like,
you want.
There's no speed limits. Yes, there's rules, right? Your dad teaches you, hey, you come up to a trail crossing, you slow down. You don't be an idiot. You're coming around a blind corner, don't run the inside and hammer through it, right? Like you got to check up. You get to the top of a dune, a witch's eye, whatever, you can check up, like you got to be responsible. But at the same time, you were free. And you're free to do what you want to do, go where you wanted to go, and enjoy this outdoor world that I think most people have never experienced. And that was the appeal growing up was, man, you go out with your buddies, you sleep in the back of your freaking truck, you unload your dirt bikes, and you just go. And
A lot of people don't know about that. I grew up in the Northeast,
Right.
in Jersey and Philly. I didn't know what a desert was until I got stationed out here.
yeah.
And it's wild, huh?
I had absolutely zero idea. I went to the Jersey Shore. I didn't know surfing existed because of our 6-inch shore breaks, right? All we did was, honestly, skateboard the city and run from
I think
the
we
cops,
should do.
man.
I think
that was it.
We should. So Hannah, you and Troy, you guys are Glamis, essentially Glamis, right?
Troy is, and I do it for him.
I love
Aw.
Glamis.
I love
They're in
Glamis.
love.
See, Hannah's
No.
not so bad.
No, I love Glamis. I don't dislike it at all. I just didn't grow up doing it. I was taught as a child that Glamis is the dangerous place. You don't ever go there. That's where people go to die, right? I grew up going to Agatia Wells, and like you said, my dad ingrained into my head hand signals and you pick
Right.
up trash even if it's not yours. Just that type of desert etiquette and
So here's what I want to do.
Right.
Here's what I want to do because I haven't been to Glamis in years, mainly because that's where you go to die.
okay.
I've never been to Glamis.
But
That's where you go to live, my
yeah,
friend.
no, you got to live there.
I do enjoy it.
I like Glamis, but let's do because we're talking. what I'm going to present here is talking about new people, and I think Agatia Wells is perfect for new people.
Yeah.
Why don't we do a Bent Motorsports, not just one
I
weekend,
like where this is going.
but maybe a couple of weekends where we sponsor something out in Agatia Wells, where we just show people the bare bones basics. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there who want to get into it. They want to go, and I know there's a lot of companies. They got again, the San Diego Off-Road Coalition, they're doing the Lost Lizard Run coming up here in a few weeks. There's a lot of ways to get into it. San Diego Jeep Club does a lot of trail days and things like that. But I want to do one that's less organized,
Sure.
right? More of a something like you would do like a meetup, right?
Camp out and
Like just camping out.
we're
and
going to
meeting
do a
up.
couple runs.
That's it.
This
right?
person's going to lead this run to this place.
That's it.
Whichever one you want to go on.
Right, we
there
got some UTVs. They're going to head over to Gas Dome. We got some bikes. They're going to head over to Shell Reef, and we got some Jeeps, and they're going to go out to Pumpkin Patch, right?
Right.
And we're going to have somebody in charge of each one of those runs who knows the rules,
Competent.
right? And you go over the rules. You go over the etiquette, I should say, not rules, but the etiquette, right? And because that's one of the things we've been seeing lately at Ocotillo Wells is just that some of the etiquette's lost.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
So if
I
we
mean,
can
people
just-
can just jump in a buggy,
Yeah,
a
and go.
Razor, and just go out there or rent one
Right.
that haven't been educated, didn't have a dad that was
Yeah.
like, hey, you don't do that.
Well, it's
You
like
know?
Yeah.
the whole driving
And-
a whole older vehicle where you have to know the vehicle. You have to know what you're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Rather than driving a modern, it does everything for you. You literally just hold the wheel.
Well, I just don't want
That's
this to be
comparison.
like an event. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want it to be
Right.
an event where we're pushing a raffle or anything like that, right? It's just, hey,
Right.
look, man, Bent Motorsports is going to be out at these GPS coordinates.
We're going to camp.
We're going to camp, dude. We're going to have a bonfire. We're going to have a couple beers. Like, you want to come hang out? Come hang out. It's just a hangout.
Yeah, no assholes.
Yeah, no assholes. And if you are, we're going to tell you.
Yeah.
And just come out and hang out. And we're going to go ride dirt bikes. And we're going to ride UTVs. And we're going to ride Jeeps. And
I
we're
like
going to,
that.
we're just going to have a good time. And in the process, you're going to learn some desert etiquette. And we're going to get you involved in understanding. That way you're comfortable with going to your neighbors or your friends and going, hey, guys, I figured it out. I know how to do the desert thing.
Yeah.
Come on, man, I'll show you. And then
Right.
that's how it gets passed down, right?
See, that's
Because
what's-
right now, the generation thing, like I taught my kids. Well, my kids aren't going to teach anybody till they teach their kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Right? But how do we get the new people out there
Yeah.
in a situation that's way more casual than the current thing? Like they're thinking, oh, I got to sign up for this poker run or this event, or
Right.
I gotta buy a raffle ticket, or
My rig's not set up for something like
yeah.
this. and
Whereas it's like, no,
I'm
dude,
embarrassed.
like literally,
Yeah.
this is where I park my motorhome. I'm going to park my motorhome here,
Yeah.
bring firewood, and enough food for 2 days.
Well, just for backstory, a lot of that happens in this building, regardless, with all the customers that you guys work with daily, especially from your standpoint and Curtis's, who do the interaction daily. People come in off the freeway because they see the sign off the 78.
Right.
Like, hey, I want to go out to a trip. I'm new. And you inspect their vehicle, and you tell them what to do, and their build process, and you just care about what they want to accomplish with that vehicle and what their end goal is.
Yeah.
Transitioning that to a desert environment is not like it's nothing at all. You
Well, I
already
think-
do it.
Right. And showing people, I think that's the most interesting thing that people don't understand when they get an off-road vehicle is how capable it is
Yeah.
at the stock level.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they think
Yeah.
they need to build this thing up so crazy. And the reality is, I mean, I was in Moab one time, and this dude had a TJ Rubicon on 28s. And,
You're right.
dude,
Factory.
just manhandled that thing and hit
Yeah.
all these trails these dudes on JKs with 40s were doing.
Yeah.
And like didn't winch, went up all these trails. And so I think that's the other cool factor is showing people like, yes, you should, there are some things you should do to your rig. But the reality is this thing is super capable and a lot of fun
Right.
as is.
Totally.
So
Reminds
break,
me of
fix,
my
and
IFS days.
make it better and keep going.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. You can have fun now. You don't need to break the budget, and that's another thing we pride ourselves on here is that when you come in, we ask you, what are your plans for the Jeep?
Right.
Like, what's your 5-year plan for your Jeep? Right.
Right.
And then what we'll do is we'll help you build it either all at once if you want, or in a budget conscious way so that over the next few years, you can get to your ultimate goal. So as you start learning and progressing and go into harder and harder trails, your Jeep is progressing with you, right? So you're not out of pocket 50 grand right out of the gate. No, it's 10 grand or it's 3 grand or whatever it is. And as your skill builds, your Jeep builds, and we don't do anything to your Jeep now that is going to impair what your 5-year plan is.
You
Right.
won't have to take take off anything you've already put on. You
Right.
just keep adding.
Yeah, we're going to
It's
make
not a
it so that you
duplicate
can
effort.
add it as you go,
Yes,
and then
right.
you'll eventually going to get to where you're going to the Rubicon with us. You're going to Moab with
Yep.
us,
Right.
right? So I don't know, Hannah, did you write that down? Because I'm going to forget tomorrow.
I'll write it down.
Right? She's not going to write that.
I
She's
feel
going
like
to
she's
write.
been playing
David has.
tic-tac-toe with
Can you
herself.
David
send
has
a
dumb
recap
ideas.
email with bullet points from this?
Or we could just watch our own podcast.
We're like
actually
Elon
enjoy
Musk,
doing
no
that.
PowerPoints.
I like
We
reliving
live
this.
the podcast. We don't need to rewatch.
That's right.
I love it. I love
Which
it.
it's been 2 hours officially
How's
now.
it? Oh, we're on like Joe Rogan
way.
level
Yeah,
right
so
now.
we're
Holy
gonna
cow.
thank everybody
I hope it's
now.
still recording.
I need
Josh
another
is,
cut water.
Josh is gonna have a cut water and catch a plane. So
Do you have any ending notes?
Yeah. What'd you like to say at the end here?
Oh man, what would I thank you. I appreciate
Welcome.
you guys, man. Like
Thanks.
you guys have been great friends. We've been able to do a lot of fun stuff. I feel like together already, and
Yeah.
so much cool stuff to go. Thank you to the community. I love doing this. Like to be honest, like it's so fun, and it's my passion. It's what I love to do, and it's rad to see people that wear the gear that love it. It works for them. That's one of my favorite things is someone to come up. Oh man, these pants are so amazing. Like I can't tell you what I do with them and like how this works. And one of my favorites was Shannon Campbell. Actually, was just like, bro, when are you gonna get me more of these pants? Like these things are amazing. Like
That's
tearing
You
us
awesome.
up.
did just remind me of what I forgot earlier. So you talked about. I'm sorry.
It's gonna,
Hit
be
the
about,
button.
it's gonna be about a helicopter.
No. You talked about. You talked about. You talked about. Hang on. I thought we were working on our relationship.
Give it to me, Kevin.
You
What's
talked
up?
about price increase.
Yes,
That's something I wanted to hit.
Sorry.
there it is. Hit the money bet.
I wanted. Thank you. You were talking about price increase,
Right.
but from your competitors. I'll call them competitors, right?
Right.
For the type of pant that it is,
Right.
are 25% higher than you currently. So the pre-order to the Kestrels coming out and the
Right.
Trailblazers and stuff, you're still going to be within margin of the competitive pants.
Oh yeah,
So
and
it's
it-
not like you're like, yes,
Right.
for off the grid it's going up, right? But
Right.
you're not going over market
No.
at all.
And to be
I'm proud of myself,
completely
by the way.
honest, like we've held our pricing as long as we could, and even
Yes.
took a hit the last couple years with our pricing. And I mean, we're still taking a hit with this new one, but the reality is we created a much better product with much better materials, and we're still priced, and we always have more function and features than
Yes.
any of the other comparable brands. That's one thing I've always prided myself on. I've worked for all these brands, and I remember sitting in meetings where they'd be like, well, like you got to take this zipper off, and we got to change this seam here because the cost has gone up. And that's why I started my own company, to be honest, is I didn't want to have somebody telling me I needed to take shit off my pants that I wanted to make, or anything that I make, to be honest. And so in this version, it's a much better pant in a much better factory. Our tolerances are a lot tighter. The fabric's better. Again, U.S. grown cotton. And so, yeah, we will have a price increase, but we're holding the price of our original pants until Friday of this week. So what is it? Today's the 18th. So for 2 more days, the pants will be $72. I don't know when this podcast is coming out. But
Not in 2 days.
not in 2 days. So
Sorry.
you already lost it.
You can
You lose. Good day, sir. So you'll have to
you can also get on
join
our
our
emailing
newsletter.
list. Yes.
And
Thank
download our app. We have an app. Many people don't know.
I'm on it.
The app's
I have the
freaking
app.
rad.
The app is rad. I have it.
So, again, why did you create one? My favorite question somebody always says is like, "You're off the grid, but you're trying to sell me pants online." It's like, yeah, dumbass. I don't live in a shack in the woods with solar power and well water. Trying
What am
to
I, the Unabomber?
sell apparel. Like, look, I made a brand for people that like to go off the grid.
Yeah.
That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Can't please everybody, man.
So you can't market apparel if you live in a shack off in the woods with a generator, well water, and all that stuff.
You could send carrier pigeons with
Right. Yeah.
discount codes.
So, anyway, God, where were we? What
we were talking about the,
The
price
price.
increase, but you're
Yeah.
still within.
It might be slightly irrelevant.
And it doesn't matter because
the
let's
time
be
this is
honest.
posted-
The,
That was,
the
like,
reality,
relevant,
the reality
like,
of it
an hour and a
is,
half
is
ago.
that, like I said earlier with my pants ripping all the time, is that these have lasted 5 to 10 times longer than the other pants. So in the long run, it's cheaper.
Right. I mean, the thing that I always say to people is like, you can buy 3 pairs of pants that will do the same thing that our 1 pair of pants do. Right.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
You can buy your Carhartts for the shop. You can buy a pair of cool pants when you go outdoors, and then you can buy a pair of 511s if you're going to the range.
Yeah,
or you can just buy one
pair.
pair of ours.
Yeah.
You know,
Which is
and they're
what's
the
up.
same price as everyone else's.
Yeah.
And we get a lot of comments that are like, oh, I go to Tractor Supply and I buy my pants, or I go Walmart, or I get Wrangler, or whatever. Cool. totally fine. Like don't care. That's awesome. Like do you? But like I'm a small company, small brand. I price these fairly. I do the best thing I can, and I'm trying to support this community the best way I can.
And we
Bike-
thank you for all of that. I
appreciate it.
Kevin, I
everything.
thank
For
you.
literally everything.
Kevin, thank you for your service.
Yeah. Literally
we're
knew
just
you were
not.
gonna
We're
say
just. We're not gonna be for everyone, right? You know, like I get it. Like some people like what they like, and it's cool. Like totally
No.
fine.
Well, we wear them. We love them.
I'm not
Everybody
gonna
I know
dilute
wears them and
the
loves
pants.
them. So, all right, Josh,
Boom.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody, we monetized last week on YouTube.
Good.
We can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Everybody who subscribed, keep crushing it. Grab your grandma's phone, subscribe on her phone for
Yeah.
us. They don't know.
We
They don't
didn't-
know.
We didn't do that without your help. That's for
Yeah,
absolute.
yeah.
certain.
So it's going to just help us get you better content, more content. We get to do
Yeah.
cool builds, make
Love it.
more fun videos.
So if you're not familiar with what that means, we're making money off YouTube now. So the more views and the more subscribers, the more everything we get, the more stupid, insanely entertaining videos we get to make that you get to watch.
Yeah,
We're-
which
we're
we're
just
working
us.
on a video right now, and we're doing a product review on something that is going to
You
be
could
super
say
cool.
that. It's going to be a little bit more explosive than
It's
that.
going to
if
be
you
a
catch my
stress
drift.
test of a product.
It's
So
going to be a trauma test.
trauma test. So
Like it.
for sure, subscribe if you don't want to miss
We
that.
might get sued by a tool company.
Corporate
by-
America's not going to like it.
Yeah.
But we're going to do it anyways.
Fantastic.
So to end it, thank you again, Josh. Off
Oh.
the Grid. Everybody, please go check that out. Get the app, and we'll see you on the lake bed. Don't
Yes.
tell my dad.
Yeah.
Oh, you did it.
I genuinely respect women in the industry.